We've been... Check your hair. Your hair's fine. You're good.
Okay. Been making sure Rogaine, so hopefully it's not going to show my bald spot. It works, by the way. You guys want it? I've got sproutlets up here.
Oh, sproutlets.
Yeah.
Looks nice. You're not gray like I am.
Not yet. In my beard, yeah. In my beard.
Gang, we are live. Welcome to Dave and Devall's Toys and Collectibles, episode 300, live right here on YouTube.com. You can check us out. Quick.
Yay!
Thank you, David. It's wonderful. Thank you for the celebration. That's a good. It's not a noisemaker though, so it doesn't.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about that because it would have amused me, but it'd probably be really irritating for the.
True, very true. Gang, I'm Devall. That's Dave Draper. With us is the wonderful one and only Floorburger.
Hi, everybody.
And of course, the Hoff. The Hoff joins Floorburger wherever he goes. He's hanging out here, like a crazy mad fool.
Yeah, if he doesn't stay standing, there's a good reason for that.
Yeah, he doesn't stand the best. But gang, welcome to episode 300. This episode will be a little different. Josh is going to kind of be the MC of this episode. We decided
he's the Chris Hardwick, if you will.
He is the Chris Hardwick. He even he's handsome like Chris Hardwick.
I can't do that growl.
But Josh has got a bunch of questions he's going to ask Dave and I, as well as a ton of fan questions. We had people email Dave and Devall episode 300 at gmail.com their questions over the last couple weeks as we've been building this episode, and Josh has been the only one with the password to that. So he's been the only one to see the questions. I have not peeked. I do not know what they are. Dave is clueless as always.
Mm.
And as you can tell, Josh and I are underdressed.
Or is he
It's
overdressed?
the 300th episode. Come on, guys. Show a little class.
That's for later.
What?
That's what are we doing later?
I don't know what you guys are doing later.
What's classy later?
Oh, never mind that.
Fair enough.
All right.
I mean, I know there's dinner later, but are you like taking us to the Ritz or something? Like,
Maybe.
oh,
I don't know
Josh
about you
is
guys.
paying for dinner.
We're making.
Well, look.
I didn't.
Yeah, okay, but that was on taco night.
Oh,
Oh.
poor David.
Yeah.
No taco night for David. But I'm gonna let Josh take it away.
Yeah.
And ask away, kind sir.
So we had a lot of great questions
Yep.
sent in. However, there are some listeners like myself, people who've been with us for a little bit,
Right.
Who did not know much about your media-related histories prior to ToyWorldOrder and what brought you to ToyWorldOrder. So
Right.
what paths led you to where you are now, to episode 300? And how did it start, and how has it changed?
It's interesting because it started. It started years ago. Danny did these videos on YouTube of like looking at the Masters figures with the Classics figures. It was early on, before Danny even started reviewing stuff. And I remember seeing that stuff. I was doing some stuff. I was reviewing toys for Figures.com. They were all, there was no video stuff involved until later on. But I was reviewing stuff. I got Danny involved in that side as well, reviewing stuff. He started doing videos, and I thought, well, that looks like a lot of fun. Like, I could do that. That'd be cool. So we started doing that new toy smell together, which led to Pop Culture Network, which led me meeting Dave at Toys R Us, because Dave used to come in all the time. So I'd see him
Back then.
And he was introduced by another toy guy to me, and we got to
Lamont,
talking. Yeah. Lamont introduced us, and we got to talking, and Dave would come in, and I would usually help him with stuff that he was looking for.
Mostly we'd gossip about another local guy.
Yeah, mostly it'd be
he was a character back in those days.
Yeah, it was quite interesting back in those days. But then we had come over to Dave's to film his flag, because he had a flag play set. So we kind of wanted to film that for that new Toy Smell.
You were doing a whole thing about play sets.
We were doing a whole thing about play sets.
Yeah,
and then Dave ended up becoming a part of the show at Pop Culture Network as we started calling him USS Flag Dave, and then he became Flava Dave, which was a horrible idea on our part because Dave hated every second of it. But of course, at the time we were like, "It's funny," and Dave's like, "I hate all of you."
You didn't like Flava Dave?
No, it was a little. But then when I left Pop Culture Network, and then Dave left shortly after I did, I had decided I wanted to start something up. I wanted Dave to join me, and we started that. We started ToyWorldOrder, and the podcast came about because I wanted something every week that Dave and I could get together and hang out and talk toys and just and mostly to keep me motivated to do stuff. So there was
the site had been around for a little while. I think there were high expectations because of what had been achieved at the Pop Culture Network.
We weren't going to achieve those high expectations at all.
Well, yeah, and we had some other people involved who I think were more used to an actual professional environment as opposed to this kind of quasi hobby thing that we're doing. And they also were like for more traditional media, so they had their thing, and it was like you do a toy review and you had to submit it to 3 people to get the approval of the edit.
Yeah, wow. It was
and you're waiting and waiting and waiting for some of these people, and it's it's like it's a YouTube toy review. By the time that this guy gets around to doing it in a week, right? Because there were a couple that we had like before anybody else. Like in the very early days, there were 1 or 2 things that we would snag before, you wouldn't see 100 reviews up for it. And if we had moved, instead of just, sitting there like submitting it through the review process, so that I can find out that I popped my peas. That was always the note that I got. You're popping your peas.
Popping your peas. It's like, all right.
I went through like 3 microphones in the early days of ToyWorldOrder.
Would you have to go back and redo it?
I would not. That was also one of the problems, but...
Because, I mean, with the toy review industry as it is, getting that review out there as fast as possible.
I think that's worth popping a few peas. You want to be the first set of eyeballs,
right?
I mean, there's a lot of guys who just get views just because they got on first.
Yeah.
It was that was kind of the weird thing too, was all the hoops that we ourselves had to jump through for ourselves, because we wanted to make, at the time we were trying to keep the quality up to where we wanted it to be. We were trying to keep everything, to that quality level, and there was a lot of eyes on us at the time, and the guys on the West Coast were very much about, like Dave said, your peas, pot your peas, and
it was a much more professional environment or attitude.
Yeah, and then those guys eventually left because they were putting together a show called Effing, which was figure news, which was kind of an adult kind of thing, which is still on the channel, but it's age gated. So if kids are trying to watch it, you're not going to find it. Because I made sure to age gate it all, because I'm like, nah, because we went family friendly. I was like, nah, nobody needs to see that really that are kids. They would put together these elaborate episodes of the show, and they'd get so pissed off because nobody was watching it. Like, they'd get 30 views, 40 views. Like, and I kept trying to tell them, I'm like, this is slow burn. I'm like, just because people know who Dave and I are doesn't mean they're going to subscribe to the channel. Doesn't mean they're going to like what we're doing on our own. I was like, what people don't realize is Pop Culture Network, and there's nothing against Danny, and Danny knows this, but it was the Pixel Dan show. People tuned in for Danny. The rest of us were...
How is that a knock on Danny?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just the other truth. And, and there was nothing wrong with that. Danny was
he was the star.
He was the star of the show, and the rest of us were all just kind of supporting actors. So, even though there were a lot of eyes on Dave and I, it wasn't one of those things where it was like, trying to tell them it's not going to be like, boom, we're at 1 million subscribers or whatever. It's going to be, it's taken us, this long to get just over 6,000 subscribers. Yeah. And we were doing stuff pretty regularly up till a few months ago on the site. Just because
it's been about a year. We've had
a
rough year, but it's been about a year since we've been doing stuff regularly.
Yeah.
Well, even new channels with existing YouTubers, like when they come up with a new channel, a new branding or something, it still takes time to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so those guys got frustrated and left. They were like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like,
I think they expected that we'd come in and because of Jason's reputation, because of high production values, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm against quality, but I mean, I think there's a balance. But with high production values and Jason's star power, and we're gonna come in and we're gonna be like, because I remember them talking about, wait till you guys walk in at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, we ain't been to San Diego.
Yeah, we ain't been to San Diego Comic-Con.
But and it just, I think everyone, if you weren't involved with the whole YouTube thing, I think people had a different impression of from the outside looking in.
Yeah,
that's just you show up, you point a camera at you, Step 3, profit. Yay.
Yeah.
Well, it is a very complex process.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, you guys are talking about some early challenges, so I'll do
one quick thing, because actually we went off on this whole tangent.
Yeah.
The point being that the ToyWorldOrder was underperforming early on, and Jason was frustrated, and I think he was like, he felt like, he was like, I want to do something that is mine, and I don't know, I'm putting it badly.
You have more creative control over.
Not even creative control, but like just more of who he was.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the frustration, is we were doing things by a certain formula, and it was kind of leaching out who we were.
Yeah.
So it was like, Jason was like, I want to do a podcast, and I want to say what I want to say, and I want to, so.
And you guys have a definite style.
Yeah.
That's very different.
Sort
from a
of.
lot of. You do.
Well, it's a very loose style now. We kind of kept that production quality up for a long time.
Oh yeah, and I still don't think we've got like these big schmancy lights on us, and I mean I don't, but I think worrying about every little detail, making it like broadcast level perfect is beyond what's feasible for us.
Right.
Because it's just us. We don't have a staff. We don't have even some of these YouTube channels have like 5 or 6 people.
Oh yeah,
that's madness. That's luxury.
Somebody like Philip DeFranco, who is hugely popular, has like
he's got
20 people,
oh my God,
25 people working
can't
for
imagine
him.
He's building his own news network.
Yeah, I mean he is the news network on YouTube.
He films something, sends it off. Somebody else edits it, and editing is sometimes the hardest part.
Whereas Dave and I are just like, let's do some toys.
Yeah. Set up a camera in our basement and film toys.
Yeah, why not?
So next question. Kind of in line with some of the challenges you guys dealt with. So what would you say has been the most difficult experience you've had in collecting or being involved in the toy media, and how did you see yourself through it?
Oh.
If you have that off the top of your head.
The fallout of PCN, I think, has been the toughest thing for me for years.
What was that all about? That's before I started.
That was before you started watching it, and I don't want to go into deep detail, but there was a lot of crap that was done. Danny and I did some horrible things to one another as people, which led to a fallout, which led to me leaving, which led to Dave and Scotty Cash having a big fallout because they butted heads, and Scotty was just sometimes is a handful, and Dave was going through a bad period at the time, and it was the wrong thing at the wrong time for them. So Dave left, and us leaving, and then kind of staying quiet about it, but then all of this other stuff was being done and being said about us in the public forums. That was really the hardest thing for me, because I was having a hard time not responding to defend myself, and also I was trying to keep Dave from defending himself because we were being attacked pretty thoroughly.
Well, there was one nasty podcast that went up.
Yes.
It got taken down pretty quick.
Yeah.
But at the time, I had my blood up. And I remember posting something on Facebook, and like the California guys were like immediately, take it down. I'm like,
yeah.
And I think because of the way things have played out, that Scotty and I have kind of made up, shook hands, because I saw him at a C2E2 a couple years ago, and he'd lost so much weight.
Yeah.
And it was like, if there's one thing that I respect, it's someone that can do that.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I said, dude, I'm sorry, I gotta shake your hand. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And then we made up with Danny, first you, then me. So, like, I'm glad that maybe I was kind of. There's a part of me that's always been like, I'm glad that they kind of shut me down, so I didn't say anything that made anything worse.
Right.
But there's also always been this resentment that they got in a free shot.
Yeah. Is it hard being a public figure, at least, or even a semi-public figure? Because we know about trolls in YouTube and on forums.
We've really, other than that, which was no one's fault but our own, and the situation that was happening, and the people that surrounded other people involved in it. other than that, I don't think we've ever really had a major issue other than earlier this year with a couple of fans just causing a lot of issues.
Yeah.
It really hasn't been that difficult because we go somewhere with Danny and Danny gets hounded and Dave and I are just kind of like hanging back like, well, see you later.
Well, yeah. As I said to the infamous Mike Irizarry, my thing is I don't care about the fame. I just want the money. And he's like, don't we all?
Fortune and glory.
Fortune and glory. But yeah, that was probably the hardest thing since we've started all of this. I mean, since I started going all the way back to then, that was probably the hardest thing to go through because it was soul crushing. Because on one hand, I had lost a friend at that point who I'd known at that point for 10, 11 years, just because the two of us couldn't talk to one another and figure things out because, which eventually got sorted out. And now it's fine. It's all water under the bridge. We did some shit. We apologized for it. We're men. We talked about it. It's done. But that was the hardest thing for me. And then for Dave and I to kind of be on our own, and then be getting attacked and, somebody else who will remain nameless, like bought web domains with my last name in them. And because they knew because of Dave that I was going to go do my own thing. And at the time, I had this idea of doing toy reviews with a puppet version of me. Like building an actual puppet Devall and doing toy reviews with a puppet. And Dave had kind of spilled the beans on that.
Because I was still at pop culture.
Because he was still at pop culture.
Yeah. And that was, that was hard because it's like, Jason's my friend, but it was like, it's like a bad after school special where it's like, suddenly I'm in with the cool kids. Yeah. And like, do I stick with my buddy? Or do I try to like stick with the cool kids?
Which table do you sit at for lunch?
Yeah,
they've sat at the cool kids table for a little while.
I said, ironically, the incident you're talking about, where he's cackling and like buying up that's where I was like, oh, this is the side that I've gone with. Yeah.
Like he bought up every domain name with my last name in it, like Devall's Toy Reviews. Like I still have a file on my computer with this person's name that basically says is an a-hole. And then it's just a list of domain names that they owned because they were all with my last name. At that point, I had already bought ToyWorldOrder. I had the domain.
Excessive.
Yeah, and he not only did that person keep those domain names for several years, like paid for them. And I mean, they're not expensive, but when you're adding like 10 or 12 of them up a year, it's like that's a waste of money, man. What are you doing?
That is.
But I constantly got told through Scotty Cash that person would release those domains to me if I would just admit what I did. And I was just like, I don't care, man. Spend your money, brother. No skin off my back. I have my website. I give a damn.
That's trolling.
That was trolling 101.
That's a new level of trolling.
Yeah, that's just beyond. But yeah, that was the hardest thing, I think, for me. I don't know about Dave personally, but I know for me that was the hardest thing, was to try to keep my emotions in check and also try to help Dave keep his emotions in check, because Dave is a very emotional person like I am. And he sometimes won't hold back, and he just was like,
Well, and especially when it's at such a personal level.
Right.
Like that's intense.
I don't know if Dave has anything to add to that, or...
I mean, my response would be slight. I think it was that incident planted a seed of frustration with things. Because I remember going out, you were at Patty Doyle's, and I drove out, and we had this big conversation, because I was really frustrated with the way, as it kind of came across earlier, the California method.
Right.
And I kind of felt like you weren't backing me. And
I was trying to be...
I was trying to split the... I know what you were
I was trying to be the leader. I was trying to hold everybody together and try to calm two different sides and try to, try to keep everyone appeased the best I could. And I was trying not to pick sides, even though I was to a degree. But it was very hard. And eventually, the West Coast guys just gave up and signed the company over to me completely anyway. So I was like, all right, well, now we're on our own, Dave. Let's do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. So... you guys, in 300 episodes, if not a little longer, have developed a very loyal and fun fan base.
The tens of tens.
Tens of
tens.
I
like to call it. The dozens of dozens. We love you guys.
But it's an amazing community. We've all talked about it several times about how...
some of them even know that it was started by a website that we own.
It's true.
And I used to be a member of that website.
Yeah, no, but that's like the running joke is half of our fan group don't even know that it's a fan group.
Yeah.
But we have a couple questions from those fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into those. So the first one, let's hear from Alexis Lasik. Alexis writes in honor of number 300, name 300 toy lines. No, I'm just kidding.
G.I. Joe, Barbie.
She goes on. Obviously, I'm kidding, but congratulations, you two. Of course, of the past 300 episodes, what are your 10 or less favorite things that you have covered?
Oh.
And what is your all-time favorite moment? So we're going from some of the challenges to what are some of your favorite moments?
Dave, you want to take the lead on that one?
Oh, my favorite moment's the one I can make Jason crack up.
Oh my god!
like tweet.
Tweet is my favorite thing in the show.
Yeah.
Finally,
Yeah, and just a quick background on that for people who don't know, it was during Porggate, and everyone was freaking out about Porgs, and I was saying on the show, they're not going to be that big part of the movie. They're going to be background characters. Thank you, Josh.
Tweet.
And they weren't going to kill Supreme Leader Snoke by just flying down his throat going tweet.
Oh, that broke me so bad.
Good thing that's the only thing that got broke.
I
I saw.
Tears.
You can see that?
Oh yeah,
You can.
Yeah, you can see. You can
Yeah,
see.
I can see you messing around with it. And it fell
Porgus
over.
Maximus.
He's okay. I won't touch it
He's
anymore.
good.
That's why I moved the mugs away from there.
Yeah.
That's our 300 reference since it's Porgus Maximus.
Porgus Max.
Okay.
This is Porgza.
So Porggate was one of your favorite things to cover.
We've covered so much. I mean, my favorite things we've done on the show is, talking about toys that time forgot with Blake.
Yeah.
We've had John Kent on a bunch, and he's always fun to have on.
Yeah.
Episode 200 was fun. It was me, Dave, Danny, and Gall just
At that
talking
table.
about at that table, just talking about the most, some of the craziest toy lines ever to come out. That was a lot of fun.
And that show could make a book in itself.
Yeah,
Could easily.
yeah. That show was that was a lot of fun. Gall, of course, Gall's been on a couple times.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that the kind of quick thing that we did with Hembro, we finally got finally landed your
with
interview
Jordan Hembro and that was fun when they were at Toy Man. That was a good episode. We only had like 40
basically
minutes.
stalk them back to the hotel.
We only had like 40 minutes to record with them. That was a lot of fun. That was really good. I like the first episode we did, Christmas Nazi, which is not the most family friendly podcast. And I think I re-released it later on where I bleeped out and edited a lot of the cuss words out. But the show has evolved so much from that first episode of just us bullshitting about stories of toys to what we do now, which is just a lot of times us spinning our wheels like...
I was going to say, us elucidating our stories about toys.
Yes. The first episode's still one of my favorites with Dave telling the story of, White Christmas is not the most...
desecrating the memory of my mother. Yeah.
God rest your mother's soul.
Yeah.
She was. I wish I could have met her because she sounded like a wonderful woman, even if she was.
She was a heck of a woman,
yeah.
but man, I just from the end of November till January was not a fun time.
No, so that's why the Christmas Nazi
Yeah.
came into play. But just talking about that's one of my favorite things about the show is getting able to sit down and talk with Dave, and then stories of our past will pop up that we haven't told before, and just to sit down and talk about that kind of stuff, or like just sit there like we have with you all afternoon, just sitting here talking about life and toys in general. That's one of my favorite things of the show is, even though we don't have a lot of guests on because sometimes the schedule is a little weird for us since we usually record at night and some people can't make it. Like, that's why this show's happening on a Sunday so Josh could be here.
So somebody could watch Wrestling Maniacs tonight.
I can start that when I get home, whatever, man. Even if it's on, I'll just start it back from the beginning. Who cares?
Yeah, we can rewind.
Royal Rumble, by the way. Royal Rumble. Get it
Royal
right,
Rumble.
David. Get your wrestling pay-per-views right.
Royal Rumble?
Damn it.
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble.
Rumble.
That's one of my favorite things, though, is just sitting down and being able to talk about toys, whether it's with Josh or Dave or Gall or even Hembro, like some of the stories Hembro told. Like, just, I like hearing stories about toys and how they've affected people's lives. I mean, it's obvious, they've affected the three of ours lives. I mean, Dave's got an entire basement full of them. I have an entire basement full of them. You have a toy collection. It's just like, it's interesting to hear how each of us have come to grasps with the sickness of toy collecting. and how we continue our day-to-day lives because of it.
I'm glad you called it a sickness.
I always feel it's more symptom.
I'm pretty
but
sure
whatever.
Carrie's watching, so I'm pretty sure it is a sickness. So
I
hi, if you're
think-
watching, hi babe, I love you.
I think my wife Anissa is watching too. Hi. And I think one of the appeals that I see, and I think the listeners can agree, is that you guys are sort of the average Joe regular guy, but your stories and your experiences are so fascinating. And I think for a lot of collectors, we see that, hey, we have these fascinating stories as well. So it's like we're like every time you guys have a show, it's like kind of like what we were just doing. We're just sitting there having that chit chat about all these things, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the next question from Jeff May. Jeff May here, big fan, longtime listener.
And also, I'd like to point out that Jeff May and his lovely wife are arcade buyers, and they just bought Jen is out of control, but she just bought this like gigantic collection of arcade machines, and I've been following them on Facebook. And I'd like to buy that Popeye, Jeff, but I don't have the money for it. I'm sure it's already sold. But congratulations on the finds, because dear Lord, that's a lot of arcade games, man.
Does he have like a garage arcade?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do. They have a garage arcade in Florida. It's amazing looking.
All right, so his question is, if you had $1 for every episode of Dave and Devall, what would you spend it on? So that'd be $300.
My debt.
Fair enough.
Like $300 here. Put that there. Pay off my debt.
Fair enough.
I don't know. That's like chump change for Dave.
No, I mean, I'd probably buy something stupid on eBay, and What?
Like that.
That wasn't $300. It wasn't.
What was shipping on it?
I don't remember. But it was the only eBay seller. Wow.
That was willing to ship it.
That was willing to ship it.
I remember coming in that day in this giant box, and I went, "What is that?" And Dave
Is that
went,
a
"Oh,
refrigerator?
I was just giggling. Yeah, it's like a refrigerator box.
yeah, it's
huge.
huge." I'm sure the UPS driver that dropped that off was extremely excited to have that on his truck that day.
I think you should just get a convertible and put that in the passenger seat and just cruise around Springfield.
Just cruise around with the radio on, sing, "I'm all right,
Yeah.
nobody worry about me."
Why Kenny Loggins?
Because why wouldn't you? He
Oh.
kind of looks like the gopher from Caddyshack
Do
in a
you-
strange way.
If you have a preference, you can share it.
For what?
Or what song you would play.
Oh, I don't know.
Star Wars theme.
Star Wars theme.
Star Wars thing. Yeah,
Should have known.
fair enough. So $300 on debt, $300 on
Stupid things on
things
eBay.
on eBay. Fair enough.
Toys. I mean, do
I'd
you want a
get
specific toy?
I'd get a text and a picture from Dave going, "Bought this."
Probably a Marvel Legends wave, and
Or you can take that $300 and buy that Ideal Hulk game that's out there. That
oh yeah.
find a working one that actually
Yeah,
is functioning and complete.
All right, so also with being at 300 episodes, we have a message from the villainous Mike Irizarry,
Oh no!
co-host on What's on
Great.
Joe Mind. He wants
What?
to share.
Is that a podcast or something?
This must be. I've never heard of it.
Is
That-
that a Twitch
It was-
stream?
is that a
It
Twitch
was in
stream?
his
What is that?
signature on his email, so I just copied and
Is that
pasted
a
it.
Reddit? I've heard of that.
Ooh, I've heard of the Reddits.
I've heard of the Reddit.
I've heard of the Reddits.
We are old men.
Yes, we are.
We have no business being on YouTube like this.
So he says, "Hey fellas, congratulations on 300 episodes. I will save my normal villainy for another time.
Oh,
I just wanted to send a line and say how much I appreciate the program, even when I'm not on it.
oh, wow, that's big of him indeed.
You guys put out a great product, and I am proud of you both as peers,
Oh.
and happy to think of you as great friends. Keep
I'm
up the
gonna
good
cry.
work."
Damn
Where's
it,
the-
Irizarry.
Where's the nasty stinger at the end?
Damn it, Irizarry.
I kept scrolling to look for it. There's
Wow.
nothing in the
Your
attachment.
kindness knows no bounds.
But now he can return to his normal.
Yes, now
villainy.
you
Yeah,
can turn
well,
it
Yeah,
to
you can go right back to it.
villainy.
Yeah, you go back to it.
Yeah,
Now.
I'll try not to be too moved.
I'd like to
and-
say that my earlier thing about it being a sickness, Carrie did just text me to say I'm watching you, and she's in all caps says it is a sickness, one you have infected me with.
Ah,
It is contagious.
It is.
All right. Next one. Camise Clark. Did I say that right?
Hey,
maybe.
A.
hey.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Correct us in the
There's those
comments.
Canadians with their wacky foreign language.
Poor Camus is
Hey.
like, hey,
Camise,
hey.
Camise. Hey guys, it's been a while. Happy New Year and happy 300 episode.
Thank you, sir.
So my question is, looking back on all the toy lines and shows you have covered over the years, which toy lines are you surprised are still around and the ones that didn't make it? And same question about TV shows if you have the opportunity. Which ones are you surprised are still going and which ones that don't make it? So that's his first question.
Wow. I think all the years that we've talked about Masters Classics and Maddie Collector, I'm amazed. I'm amazed and not surprised that Maddie Collector died the way that it did.
Yeah.
Especially after Nightlick left and they just like went through this revolving door of people in charge of it. That's the one thing that's one of the things that stands out the most is all the years we talked about and took complaints about Maddie Collector, and we all dealt with Maddie Collector at one time or another, and just the utter BS that Mattel ran that small little company as.
Just taking the lowest bidder for
just the awfulness that they put everyone through for a toy line. Like I don't think I've seen besides Zyka Toys. I don't think I've seen. Well, I'm just saying, dude. They still have not. Zyka still has not launched and released Adventure People, and they launched another Kickstarter, which you, of course, reminded me that they did say they were not going to do until Adventure People was out.
I think.
They are one of the most frustrating toy companies I've ever seen in my life.
It's frustrating to keep them and the Fresh Monkeys, because they're all, like, incestuously working together, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody said they weren't going to do another Kickstarter before their line came out.
Yeah, and it's like, look, here's Sectars. We need $40,000 to make two figures.
That's a heck of a licensing figure.
2 4-inch figures.
Licensing fee.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. You guys are paying a shite ton of money for whoever owns that license from Coleco now. But you know that's. As for shows, I'm amazed Arrow's still on the air.
Yeah,
and Gotham.
I'm amazed Gotham is still on.
Gotham got renewed too. I'm amazed.
I guess it gets the ratings.
Aren't they dressing like a teenager as Batman at some point in this one?
Well, Bible Man more. He looks like Bible Man.
Yeah.
Bible Man.
Yeah.
He literally looks like Bible Man.
And guess what, Jason? Guess what?
What?
The Joker's coming.
No, he's not.
For like the 50th time on this show.
No, he's not.
They've been teasing the Joker since the first season.
Yeah.
Wasn't there that one guy that everybody thought was a Joker?
And then they killed him.
Died,
and then they brought him back live. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they cut his face off like the Joker, basically.
I haven't watched one episode. So I don't
what about you, Dave? What about toy lines and shows for you?
What are you surprised that it's still around?
I don't know. I'm surprised. At this point, I'm more surprised that things are still around.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that Turtles and Transformers have really got... Transformers has really fallen off, and Turtles seems to be falling off, because that was like the big action figure line for a while there, the one that was succeeding.
Yeah, and of course they canceled that only to relaunch it again this year.
And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember being amazed how the Transformers section just kept getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And apparently there's like a cartoon for it somewhere right now.
But see, isn't that kind of the point?
Machinima or whatever.
There's a cartoon for it somewhere. Somehow.
Machinima was running a series that's god awful.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And there's still an animated series, I guess, on the Hub. I guess that still exists.
Huh.
Like I didn't know there's any tie-in to what they're doing right now besides the movies.
Yeah, I didn't either actually. And again, that's kind of the point.
I mean, they went from Combiner Wars to
Return of the Titans.
Titans Return to Power of the Primes now. And they've been doing strong stuff with their kind of retro style. Like the Dinobots that came out are really good, but
they're okay.
They're not the greatest, but some of that stuff's been good. What about shows, David?
Like I said, Gotham, I'm surprised is still on the air.
Yeah.
I don't follow a lot of TV, to be honest. I'm not surprised Arrow's still around, except for the fact that it seems like the quality has
dropped.
Yeah, it seems like they keep getting... Well, I say this all the time, but they keep getting more and more series, and that dilutes the talent that they have.
Right. Because now they had a Black Lightning, which isn't in the same universe, but...
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like, why are you doing all these... I get it's a multiverse, but did Black Lightning really need to be in another universe?
No, it didn't. Not at all.
Oh. Except for the fact that they got themselves all tripped up in the Arrowverse about how anyone with superpowers has to have come from that one stupid incident.
Yeah.
Unless they've changed that in the the season and a half I haven't watched, but
Yeah.
Again, another show I've never seen. So I've been told I need to catch up on Arrow and watch it. But
the first 2 seasons are really good.
Yeah, but after that, you're like...
Well, the first season, I love the first season because it's weird. It's like one of those 90s Fox, CW, the OC kind of shows mixed in with a superhero show.
Yeah.
Like, and it's almost like an Adult Swim comedy. The styles are so weird, and I adore it. And then the second season, it's a traditional superhero show.
Yeah.
But still pretty good.
Yeah.
So, second question. What are you guys looking forward to this year in toys, TV shows, and movies?
Movies we talked about. The front half of this year
is
hard loaded with everything.
madness.
Black Panther, Avengers, Deadpool, Solo.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
No trailer yet.
No trailer yet.
They're saying, I think we're going to have, me English good speak. They are saying we're going to have to wait for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a Twitter account dedicated to there is no Han Solo trailer yet. And it's just there is no trailer every single day.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's
funny.
That's epic level trolling.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore.
Movies was easy.
Yeah, movies is easy because it like we talked about a couple episodes ago. The year's just so front loaded with. It's like they front loaded everything, and like the summer's like, eh.
Well, summer's Wreck-It Ralph 2, Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2,
It's
Wreck-It
gonna
Ralph
be a big
2.
summer.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big year. But TV shows, I'm interested to see Doctor Who come back.
Yeah.
This year, only because I'm always excited for a new Doctor. This time with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. First time we've had a female Doctor.
That's gonna be fun.
A new showrunner that isn't Moffat. I'm interested to see what the new writers and the new showrunner do with the history of that show and do with going forward. Like, that to me is interesting. I don't know, David.
TV, I would say probably the biggest thing would be season 3 of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the Kingpin to come back, I'm really looking forward to that. I loved D'Onofrio's portrayal in the first series. And he had like the best episode in the second series.
And he always plays his characters really kind of, not even like straightforward, but kind of weird at times.
Yeah, well,
too.
no, and it's a weird take on the Kingpin, but I really like it.
Yeah.
I don't know when BoJack Horseman's coming back, and we were just talking about Rick and Morty being delayed. So
yeah,
like I don't watch network TV at all anymore. And I even missed like the last season of South Park.
Yeah, well, that kind of fell off the boat for you too with South Park.
A little bit.
You were unhappy with the PC Principal.
I hated PC Principal.
Yeah,
it was like I got the point right away, and then he just became tedious.
And I thought that was just for one episode. I didn't know it continued on.
It was a whole season. Man.
He's still around.
It's the only episode I saw.
Yeah. So yeah, I've gotten aside from the Netflix stuff, I've gotten out of TV mostly.
Yeah.
Now, what about toys?
I mean, I've made it clear that I'm not much of a new toy buyer anymore. Yeah. I have picked up a couple of Power of the Primes figures, like not big ones, but like some of the little ones, like just some of the newer
like Pretender
Legend style, I guess is whatever they are now. I picked up some of those that are the G1 style figures, but there's not anything. I mean, there's some great stuff coming out. I mean, boss fight stuff. The Bucky stuff, which we were talking about before we went on the air, is out. It's hitting all the new stuff they've shown off of that. I know Dave's got a couple of lines kickstarted that we're waiting on. The Wild West.
Yeah. Chicken Fried Toys.
Chicken Fried Toys. Yeah. He's been showing off.
I think they call it Legends of the Wild West.
Yeah. He's been showing off tons of pictures of like test samples and stuff because they're getting real close to finally going to factory production to ship those. There was a zombie line that date back that actually looks kind of neat.
Boss Fight was involved with that.
Yeah, Boss Fight was involved with
really
that.
Cool looking line.
Pretty much anything Boss Fight's got their hands in is really interesting to me, even though I probably won't own any of it. To me, that like to see it when Dave gets it and we talk about it, that's always.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't need to own it because I'm gonna get it.
Right, and I get to see it and hold it in my hands. Yeah. But that to me, that stuff I'm curious to see. I don't know, man. That like the retail. I guess we'll see what happens at Toy Fair to see if there's anything that catches my eye this year. I know last year it was Triptychon. Like they'd shown Triptychon off.
You got that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave bought Triptychon. Triptychon's really cool.
It's like the size of a toddler.
He's pretty.
He's about 2 feet tall.
He's pretty damn big, and one of the scariest things to ever transform too. By the way.
Don't let me touch it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
No,
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm always like we talked about too before you were talking how the spring King County shows are kind of out of the door for you.
Yeah.
This year we're not going to the spring, but we'll go to the fall one. So I'm always looking forward to going to the fall show, and Toy Man's when we decide we're like, yeah, let's go. But as for new toys, there's just not anything that's really exciting me. David?
Jurassic World.
Yeah, kind of.
Mattel, I really want to see the pictures
Mattel
have
does
leaked
with
out for Mattel stuff for Jurassic World.
I didn't get to see those.
They look good.
Yeah,
they look
leaked,
a lot better than what Hasbro was doing.
They leaked, they got pulled, they leaked again, got pulled again. So it's just
and it's my scale. They made a big deal about it. It's going to be a 3 3/4 inch scale,
Really?
and the dinosaurs are
are to scale.
Yeah, the dinosaurs are to scale, and they got pretty good articulation. It looks like. So I'm
yeah.
really excited about that.
I mean, I wish they would go back to the soft plastic version.
I don't know if they're doing that or not. Like the pictures, everyone's like there's no screw holes. So
Yeah.
maybe they got like skin.
Yeah, it could be like the dino damaged skin, something like that. Yeah. That'll be a fun line when it comes out.
Yeah, Solo, obviously. I mean, I know that like everyone's kind of down on this movie, which continues to have no trailer. But it's a Star Wars movie, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy the toy. You know, I'm gonna buy the toys.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And I actually am. I wouldn't say I'm excited. Obviously my hype level for Avengers is way higher
Right.
than this. But I mean, I'm not one of those people that's like, I guess I'll see the Solo movie because I have to. Because poor me, I'm a Star Wars fan, so I must go spend my money on a movie that I will.
For me, I'm a Star Wars fan. There's one every year now. My life is
I never
horrible.
complain about it, even though I spent good money on it and knew I was going to hate it. So I'm looking forward to the movie. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be an exciting romp, and I'm looking forward to the toys. That's my thing. Is he's out of it, and I want to get out of it, but they showed off the multiverse, the TV multiverse.
Yes.
Which they have in Canada.
Oh yeah. And that's also is that also the line that has, I guess the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are a different.
Or it's
no.
Val Kilmer Batman.
The first one is Val Kilmer Batman and John
Carter.
Wesley Shipp as Flash.
Yeah.
And Linda Carter hasn't come out yet. They showed it, but they haven't
come out yet.
Hasn't come out yet.
And then there's also several other characters in that way.
Well, we don't know yet. No.
Yeah.
This is nobody I think knew about this coming out.
Yeah.
Crazy Mattel.
So that's gonna be interesting. All right, so let's move on. Alex Pasquale sends in, "Hi guys, been a while since I chimed in, but of course I want to say congrats on 300 episodes.
Thank you.
Always listen to you guys when I can on the way to work, and love being part of the community you've nurtured on the face pages.
Like a little baby, we've nurtured it. Dear.
My question is in regards to the show and your approach to collecting. What has changed and what has stayed the same?" So this is probably going to touch a little bit on what you just said. Were there any expectations and or hopes you had in the beginnings that were seen through or not seen through? So when you're intending to collect, what has changed over time?
I'll let David go first,
or are you perhaps in a completely different creative space than you would have predicted?
Yeah, I think when I started out, I really wanted to get all the vintage Star Wars stuff, and I didn't think too far beyond that. And of course, I've basically over the years collected everything but vintage Star Wars.
Yes.
So, some of it's also that now I'm in a situation where I can spend more money on the toys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, also I think you get to a point where, it's like Alexander. I'm running out of worlds to conquer.
Yeah. Quickly, too, by the way.
Yeah, so it's like I got all the black hole figures now. I got all the,
You're missing one.
Yeah, all the domestic ones.
Damn humanoid.
My Secret Wars is complete.
It is.
So, but yeah, I obviously, as you go through the years, you change, and then your focus changes, and then what you want. Originally it was just Star Wars, and then it became Star Wars and G.I. Joe, and then suddenly I was favorite Dave the toy guy, and I was buying all these toy lines just because I had the money and I wanted to have diversity or whatever.
When did it really start to increase for you?
Probably about 2010, 2011.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it always been around, but a lot of my focus had been on Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the Hasbro Power of the Force was really up until about 2009 is when I was just doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then,
It escalated quickly.
Oh.
Marvel Legends was one of Dave's downfall, I think.
Yeah. Well, well, now
Yeah.
they released
wave every 2 weeks.
They do, man.
I think I might drive down there, release 2 more waves.
The Spider-Man wave is out in like the Philippines.
Yeah. For me, it was interesting because there wasn't a huge drive to collect in 2007, 2006, 2007 when I was working for Figures.com. I was getting review samples. I didn't really feel the need to buy anything because Figures would send you stuff to review, and you'd review it. You could keep it or do whatever. Not sell it, but they'd be like, hey, just keep it or do whatever with it. I'm like, all right, well. So there was never a drive to collect. Carrie and I were kind of in financial straits. We were trying to pull ourselves out of the debt that she was left with and try to, all that stuff when we first got together. From her ex, and just try to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And we were working multiple jobs, so it was never much. I never thought of going out buying toys, and at that time I was buying DVDs, and I just stopped doing that altogether. And it wasn't until we got everything settled, moved, and even then, to that point, Carrie still hadn't jumped on the bandwagon. She was still kind of like, I don't know why you do this, it's stupid, it's just stuff. It wasn't until Carrie discovered the Disney stuff that I had that it kind of festered in her soul, and she was like, oh, we must find all of this.
Maybe festered.
Nurtured. Yes.
Nurtured it.
There we go. That kind of started the journey for me. Was just, and I'm sure Dave can attest to this, just from the time we moved into that new house in 2009 to now, the collection's, quadrupled 2 times now, it seems like. And it doesn't help that my wife is just as addicted to going out and hunting as I am.
Which is a 180 from.
And it is. Yeah. She's talked about on Married to the Collection how it flipped real hard for her. But it's the focus for me has grown so much from it was just toys, and now it's it's toys, and it's a lot of times it's licensed stuffed animals, the vintage ones, and licensed kids books, coloring books, and Happy Meal toys, and PVCs, and just all of this stuff that's been growing and growing to the point where Carrie and I keep saying, we need to stop buying this kind of stuff for a while, and then we'll go out yesterday, and I bought I don't know, we went to Savers and dug through their almost half a block long kids section, and dug out a stack of kids books and brought them home. It keeps growing, and that I think is the greatest switch for me. And for me, it's a lot of fun. When I get to go out shopping with Dave, it's a lot of fun, because we go out. We're not really ever concerned about looking for the same stuff, but we like to see what each other buys, and it's always fun. The same with Carrie. I look forward, just as much I look forward to going out shopping, toy hunting with Dave, I look forward to going out to antique malls and thrifting with Carrie, because it's just she has no problem getting down and dirty into stuff and start digging and just looking for stuff. And she's usually the one that finds stuff that I miss. And
she finds what you've said. She's found some pretty good stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the worst part of it all is, through all these years, is she knows as much, if not sometimes more, about the toy collecting world than I do, because she'll start naming stuff. And then she'll get really upset and sad and be like, I don't know why I know that. I wish I didn't know that. I wish I could go back and forget that I know that. But yeah, I mean, that's been the thing for me. That's been the biggest changes. It's just grown exponentially with not just toys, but everything. I start finding stuff for Shirt Tales or Get Along Gang, and it just becomes this habitual nightmare where it's I have to find it all. So it's just constantly digging through people's junk going, I don't have that, I'm going to take that.
It is that weird, completion curse once you get a couple pieces.
And it's not even, for me, it's not even completion. I have lines I'll never complete. I have Palisades Muppets. I'll never sell them. I'm never going to try to complete that line because you can't. We've talked about that before. Yeah. You just can't. There's no way. There's no way to complete that line.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not so much about completion. Certain lines it is, but it's for me, I honestly think it's the thrill of the hunt. It's just going out to see what you can find, getting excited about it, bringing it home, putting it on a shelf, and being like, well, what's the next thing I can find?
So that actually will connect to the next set of questions I have. My wife, Anissa.
Yes.
Hi, honey, if you're watching. Hi. She sent in 2 questions, really based on what you just said.
Right.
First, what is the most satisfying part of being a collector? What is that one big walkaway you get that's really satisfying? And you kind of just alluded to it.
It for me, it's the thrill of the hunt. It's fun to go out to find stuff for myself. I find a lot of weird, cool stuff for Dave. Like I give for him for birthdays and Christmas. Just oddball stuff that I think Dave might not. Like Dave loves the stuff that I give him, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know if Dave's going to like this, but I think it's cool for Dave's collection. I'll pick that up for Dave. Like just, I think for Christmas I got him a Battlestar Galactica video disc.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, put it with the Battlestar Galactica stuff. It'll look cool. I mean, it's a video disc of Battlestar Galactica. I mean, how often do you see that crazy crap? That's more fun to me is going out to see what I can find, and that I think is what really drives it now. Is that I get excited. Like right now, I don't feel like I need to go to Toys R Us after I leave here or something like. But we go to a toy show, I get really excited and want to start digging through people's booths to see what kind of deals I can find. Is there that one accessory that I need in somebody's pile of bin of crap? That to me is a lot of fun.
I hate the hunt.
Which is why Dave just buys the stuff.
Which is why I just buy it on eBay and get it over with. I think to also counteract something else Jason just said, there is that moment where you put the last thing on the shelf and it's complete. And you've got the whole, that's kind of I guess that's the moment that I kind of really enjoy the most.
Yeah.
I have a lot of, I love the Marauders stuff where it's like a tiny version of Barbie or G.I. Joe where you're putting together your own figure and designing your own character, and that's really cool. But yeah, I think there is this sense of, at least at this point with me, when you complete a thing. Like one thing, a weird little thing I have is for DC, I always try to put together the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
And I've managed it once, and with Legos and somewhat questionably legal Legos, I'm one away from doing it in Lego. But that's just every time I finish that little Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
There's like this sense of, I don't know why it's not much of an accomplishment. It means nothing, but it, or like just getting anything down there in the display. At this point, there's like this adrenaline rush of, I have accomplished the impossible.
I feel like Dave right now, too, because I feel that way, too, because it's like trying to fit stuff into the collection downstairs without doing massive moves. Like, I still have a stack of the Halloween costumes I bought at King County.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I'm going to put them. Like, they're just still sitting on the table, and I keep going downstairs with every intention to find them a home, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to move in here to make room for those. Like, what? And you just brought me, you picked up over the summer at the flea market, the Wolf's Flea Market at Rosemont.
Yeah.
Guy had the Mantech base and a bunch of Mantech stuff. And you just, it's big. And you just brought me the base, and I'm like, I told you were like, sorry for bringing it so late. And I was like, I knew you were coming for this show, but like, I still don't know where the hell I'm going to put the thing because it's just ginormous. So, I feel that like every time I get something in, I feel like Dave, I feel accomplished. Like holiday. Celebrate! Like I'm just like woohoo!
It is hard also to fit stuff. Like it might take me hours to just settle on what I want to do. Like it's such a weird thing. So that actually will go to the next question, as far as fitting stuff. Also for my wife, what are some challenges with being collectors who are always on the hunt?
Fitting stuff.
Yeah,
but it's not just fitting stuff. There's also. And in some points, I've kind of crossed the line, which I'm not happy about. I want it to look good. Yeah. I want to be able to look at it and kind of enjoy it and not make it look like a big, cluttered, ugly, here's a pile of crap.
Yeah.
That is always
fun.
That is really tricky. And especially with something like Marvel Legends, where you've only got so much room on Earth.
For 20 Wolverines.
For 50 more waves this month. It gets hard.
Yeah, boy does it.
All right, so next comment. Chris Fifth Rate Sheets sends in, gents, I don't have a question, but want to take this opportunity to thank you both for 300 episodes of podcast entertainment that helped me get through a few rough patches in my life. Thank you for 300 and whatever the future may bring.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. I just want to say that to me, that might be one of the coolest things about doing just this ridiculous little podcast we do every week that I love to do with Dave every week. But you know, and I'll be the first to admit there are better toy podcasts out there that do weekly shows than us. But for Dave and I to hang out every week, but that's the coolest thing is to hear that, you know, we helped somebody through something just by being, you know, the grumpy curmudgeon and the idiot. Like,
yeah. Sounds like a good band name.
I mean, I don't know how Dave feels about it, but to me, that's the coolest thing to know is that.
No, I hate knowing that we've helped people. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Hey, just because you and Chris Sheets had a little tit for tat last night. Man. I know.
Well, I
love the end of it where he was like, "I'm older than you. Shut up."
I mean, old. I can personally attest for that because a couple years ago I had a hour-long commute just to get to work, an hour back.
Right.
So with traffic, sometimes doing 12 hours on the road and having you guys as something to look forward to at the end of the week, but also have shows I could go back to, it really made the time pass. And like after a long, stressful day, it was nice to listen to the curmudgeon and the
idiot boy.
Your words, not mine.
No, it's very truth. We play those roles very well.
Yeah, straight man and the goof.
No, yeah, that's the coolest thing for me is just to know that we make a difference in someone's life just doing this or doing reviews or doing, you know, having the puppet come on screen and being ridiculous. Like to know that we in some way have helped somebody get through something difficult with, you know, laughter. Like these guys are crazy. Like that to me is really cool. That brings me a lot of pride.
Yeah,
I agree.
So our next question comes from Christopher Bandish. What toy, action figure, vehicle, playset, knickknack do you regret seeing in person but passing up on?
Oh.
That's one thing from each of you.
I'll go first on this one because I think we were talking about this before we even started recording. Is, you know, when I was in high school and I walk into KB or Circus World and there's bins of Power of the Force figures, and you just go, "You idiot!"
Yeah. All those giant bins of toys that sold for $2 that now sell for
and we were
$50.
talking Food Fighters, Computer Warriors, New Adventures of He-Man,
even Ninja Turtles, just like
Power of the Force, Ninja Turtle, like just bins of this stuff, and now it's like, good luck trying to find any of it for a good price.
But my brain was like, I'm a teenager, I'm gonna be a grown up, and that'll be a worthwhile endeavor.
How'd that turn out?
I gave up on it after a year out of college. And never looked back.
Same.
Good call. I think the thing that Carrie and I were out, one of the first trips we ever made to St. Louis to one of the antique malls. And we were in this booth, and Fisher Price made these Bert and Ernie puppets. And they're hard plastic head puppets.
Yes.
And I have both of them now. But at the time, we saw them, and I think that was like $20 for the pair. And we were like, let's keep looking around. We'll come back. And we never bought them. And we regretted it immediately. But we didn't go back. And then we just regretted it for a long time because it's like, I should have bought those when I saw them, and I didn't, and it sucks. And I think from that point on, if you know, we saw something somewhere, we're like, I don't know where we're going to see this again. Like, we would just buy it. But I think that was the thing that still sticks with me, like knick-knack wise. I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of stuff that I haven't really felt bad about leaving behind, none that I can remember. But the one regret I have is this past summer at Rosemont in August when we went, the guy that you bought the Mantech from stuff, I'm pretty sure, it was just some guy who was selling his kids stuff. It was in the attic. He brought it out. But he had all this crazy stuff. So that's where I got another Drench from Power Lords that had the backpack for like $7.
Yeah.
Because Drench was broke. I was like, I don't care. I just want the backpack. But he had a complete Vulcan Rock playset for like $200. And I'd already had one, but I needed a bunch of the accessories, and I tried so hard to get that guy. I'm like, dude, you could park this out and make more money than that on eBay. I'm like, I will give you money for the parts I need right now. And he's like, nope, can't do it. I was like,
and then he did a really good deal for me on the...
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, why?
He came down almost $70 from what he was asking for it.
Which is crazy.
He was just trying to clear out for the day.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest regrets. It's just like, I just wish I could have talked to that guy a little bit more and been like, look, man, seriously. Like, I will give you I will give you $50 for the 3 friggin' parts I need right now.
Yeah. All right, next question. Jason Metzger asks, if you had a chance to bring back any toy line from the past, what would it be and how would you change it for a fresh start? Thanks for everything you do.
Toy from the past.
And I'm wondering if he means like exactly how it was or...
Look, I still want Mangalores to come back. Like John Kent, he's still making Robotech, Glyos system stuff.
Yeah.
I still want him to do Mangalores that way, like with the Glyos, because that makes sense for that
You don't
line.
want the rubbery gooey stuff?
No, that's and I know he's talked about it in the past of doing something like that eventually, but I mean it still hasn't happened. But God, I'd love Mangalores. There were only like 4 characters in the Mangalore line, really.
Like a dinosaur.
There was a pterodactyl. There was a dinosaur creature. There was the Mangalore, and then there was one other one. I can't think of what it was, but yeah, I mean it's those are so goofy, but I'd love to have those back in that style.
Yeah. You?
I don't know. I mean, obviously the cheap answer would be G.I. Joe.
Just bring it to the
which
show.
would be nice.
Yes.
Maybe Dino Riders. I know that Imagine Next has kind of done their gloss on Dino Riders. Like a larger scale, more accurate Dino Riders line would be kind of cool.
Yeah. The one line I would want to bring back, and actually is coming back, is Food Fighters.
Yes.
And the Grocer Gang.
Yeah. Food Fighters would be fun.
So, all right. So we have a little quiz coming up for the next one. How are we doing on time?
No, we're fine. Keep going.
Okay. John Solo Atherton. I think that's John Solo. For episode 300, I wanted Floorburger to quiz the guys on some super obscure toy lines from the 2000s that I've collected.
Awesome.
Name the toy company that made these ill-fated lines. There's a tiebreaker if need be. The first one. And I'll give you... should I give you guys multiple choice or just let you try to guess?
Let me try to guess.
Okay. Shaolin Showdown.
Was that Mattel?
No. You have a guess?
Some Japanese country I've never heard of, or company I've never heard of.
And I've never heard of it. Answer is Toy Play.
Oh.
Yeah, this is going to go well.
0-0. All right, next one. And I think I remember hearing about this one. Stormhawks.
Oh. It's another weird oddball company.
I'm going to guess Trendmasters.
Close.
That would have been my guess.
Spin Master.
Oh.
0-0.
Nice.
All right.
This is riveting.
Number 3. Hero 108.
Bandai?
No.
Oh my God. I don't know. I have no answer for that.
All right, 0-0.
I don't
Because
even
it
know.
was Playmates.
Oh, I don't even know what that line is.
I think I saw an episode of that once.
Weird.
It was a weird kind of show.
Yep. Next one. Slug Terra.
Oh, that. I want to say that was Mattel.
I'll say Hasbro.
It was Jack Specific.
Damn
it.
This is great.
Awful.
And then lastly,
Awful.
I've never heard of this, but it sounds like a great band name again. Chop Saki Chooks. Never heard of it. Chop Saki Chooks.
Bandai?
No.
Jack Specific?
Jada.
Chada.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I know the logo.
Wow.
All right, so 0-0. There's a tiebreaker for 0-0.
Oh, good.
Good.
What is the total number of episodes of these 5 shows combined? Closest guess wins.
62.
Okay, wait. Oh, they're all based on TV shows. I get
Yeah.
it. I have 150.
Dave wins. He was closer as 245.
Yay.
Thanks for the show, Darkness No Parents.
Oh, Darkness No Parents.
All right.
Another great moment from the show.
2 more. We've got Ados Baron.
Ados.
Our very own Ados Baron. What's the one vintage line or lines which you think were near perfect or great the first time around that don't need an update?
Wow, that was a pretty good DOS, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, actually. It's pretty. Your inflection was
Yeah,
flawless.
yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Um,
I'll take that as a compliment.
yeah, well, that's what it was meant as. Yeah.
Okay, good. Hey, you get one.
Like I like the 25th style, the modern style of G.I. Joe, but honestly, those vintage figures and the early vehicles were
Spot on.
yeah, they were about as good
Before
as you
they
could
went
get.
crazy sci-fi.
Yeah,
And even then, that wasn't bad, the way they were designed.
Yeah.
No. They pretty much the entire run of Joe was just amazing up to a point where you're like, all right, well, that's a little much. I don't know. Something like Silverhawks, I think, was perfect. I think Thundercats was perfect vintage wise, and when they redid it, I get updating it, but God, Bandai dropped the ball so bad on that line.
You don't like having big black screws on every single joint?
God, stupid Bandai. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
They were spotted. They were cats.
Jeez.
Kind of works.
they were thinking they were toys for children who don't have standards like we do.
Yeah. And sadly, even the kids were like, I don't even know what that show is because
Yeah.
I've never seen it because it's Cartoon Network.
Because it's Cartoon Network and they buried it after 2
Yes,
episodes.
where all good shows go to die.
And his second question is, re-releases of toys, are these godsends for those who missed out or detrimental to the collecting community in terms of scarce value? I'm not sure if he's referring to it, but a big topic now is the re-release of the Automorphin.
Yes, that's what I was
powers.
going to say. Is probably that's what he's referencing to because I saw those at GameStop for the first time.
Yeah.
Right after Christmas, and I went, I didn't even know they were doing that. And the problem is I can't tell. Of course, they're not original releases; they're reissues of the toys. But it's
Exact
like
same. Yeah.
it's like, unless there's something on that packages that designates that it's a reissue, because they're just wrapped in these white boxes.
Like a protective case.
Yeah, let's look at something like the Masters reissues that came out when they were testing the waters for the relaunch of the 2000X Masters. Like, because they didn't have the molds for the original Masters and they redid it, those figures are actually kind of easy to tell the difference between the original. Will you stop mocking my hands, you butthole?
Are you Italian?
Huh?
Are you Italian?
I'm French Italian. I think I talk with my hands.
Yeah.
I'm a lover and I like spaghetti. But
Who doesn't like spaghetti?
it's true.
Yeah.
Monsters.
It's not American to...
No,
it's un-American.
those toys didn't really hurt the value of the vintage ones. Matter of fact, some of those are worth more than the carded versions of the figures, which is super crazy. Same with the Transformers. When Takara did their bookshelf edition reissues of the vintage G1 style Transformers in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which I have. That's where most of my vintage collection is those Takara reissues. Because at the time it was cheaper to buy the Takara reissues than it was the originals. For a while, the Takara reissues were more expensive than the originals, which is super crazy. And now the prices have fallen on. But I don't think reissues really hurt the values of the originals. I think people will get the reissues that are just like, I want to spend a ton of money and just buy them like I did. And the people who are actually looking to complete the collections will buy the vintage toys, and it's not going to hurt the market at all.
What about bootlegs? Bootlegs have gotten bigger. Like, the quality of bootlegs over the last couple of years have gotten bigger and better. Like, what do you think about those? Are those godsends or are they detrimental?
For collectors, it's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
You know, because you know it's a bootleg. I mean, they're not that sophisticated yet that, you know, and if it was that sophisticated, you wouldn't know and you'd be happy.
Right.
I mean, there are some that you probably couldn't tell a difference between.
Well, there are those, like those NECA Turtles.
NECA Turtles.
Yeah.
That,
The colored bandana ones.
Yeah.
Which are actually better quality at times than the actual NECA ones they released.
yeah. You know, it is, if the toy is cool, then the person buying the toy is the winner.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm not a big, well, and I'm also not a big, even though I spend a lot of money on my collection, I'm not in it for the money. It's my hobby. It's a thing that I love. It's a thing that, you know, gives me some happiness. I don't understand people that do things just aside from work, you know, but like if it's just about money, you know, then you're rolling the dice, especially if you're trying to make money off of toys.
Yeah,
you're rolling the dice anyway, so you can't really cry if they.
I mean, of course, you can ask someone like Dealer Dan that, who has been dealing toys for years and has seen the ups and downs, and now it's just like rolling the dice on what you take to a show and hope that something catches somebody's eye that they'll, you know. Same with us when we set up a show. It's like, maybe we'll sell some stuff, maybe we won't. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it is always really random, like what is going to sell really well.
Hell, you know that too from setting up at Kane County.
Yeah, there's some shows where the first day I might make a quarter, if not a half, of what I make for the entire show
Yeah.
on Saturday. I'll make a lot of money those days. And then there was one time I made $50, I think, $60 in the first day, and it always varied. All right, so good questions, Das. So Christopher Kelly sent in a series of questions. So he says, Dave and Devall, happy 300th episode. I've been a fan and faithful listener since around episode 30. I think that's when I got into. Your podcast has been consistently entertaining me on my ride to and from work on Thursdays for years now. Thanks again for consistently putting out great content. Okay, here are my questions. First question. What is your most frequent eBay search?
Legends West.
Well, I can tell you, no one will be seated while Devall brings up eBay on his phone.
Oh, dear Lord.
I have a bunch of save searches. I haven't bought anything off eBay in years. And I'm not just saying it because my wife is watching. It's the truth. I don't buy on eBay anymore. But I still have things that I watch just because I'm curious a lot of times to see what stuff is.
Are those like mannequin hands?
I'll explain that in a minute. My saved searches
That one I don't know.
that are constantly are Air Raiders, Coleco Rambo, Ertl Super Mario Brothers, Galoob Defenders of the Earth, GoBots, Hasbro Cops and Crooks, Kinner Mask, Kinner Police Academy, which I don't know why I have that anymore because I have the whole line, Kinner Robocop, Mattel Captain Power, Mattel King Arthur, New Adventures of He-Man, Panache Place Voltron, Power Lords, Rimco Mantech, RoboForce, Rock Lords, Star Ears, Teddy Ruxpin Puppets, Tonka Supernaturals, Toxic Crusaders. I have 2 different ones for Trendmasters Ecto 1 and Visionaries. That's just because those are the lines where I still need certain things to complete, and I keep eye on prices and stuff like that. The mannequin hands, which I had a listing saved for these like flexible mannequin hands. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's the crazy looking thing. I bought a bunch of figures, the little hand puppet figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a bunch. I was trying to find a way to display them because you can't display them. There's no I needed a pair of hands, and I thought flexible mannequin hands that I can attach to a doll stand and put the costumes on would work great. And I never bought any because they're like $10 for a pair, and I'm like, maybe I'll find something else that'll work. I don't know.
All right, next question. Imagine one day you come home and your whole collection is gone. You get your insurance check. You get your insurance check. What is the first 3 things you track down?
I wouldn't track anything down. If somebody broke into the house and stole it all, or heaven forbid something happened and it was all lost, I think I would just take the insurance money and just would be like, well, I guess I'm done. I don't think I would want to try to find that stuff again. And it wouldn't just be about because the thrill of the hunt's not there. It'd just be like, I couldn't. Some of that stuff, through the years, I've gotten deals on.
Yeah.
I paid, I paid amazing prices for a lot of the stuff. A lot of it was stuff from my childhood. Some of it was, it's just like, I honestly think that if it was gone, I'd just be like, eh. And Carrie and I would just take that money and, do whatever with, go on a trip or something. It's just, at that point, it's like, I'm at the point in my life now where, I think Dave is too, where it was like, if it was all gone tomorrow, I'd be like, I guess I'll just enjoy my life.
I'd be similar to that, but I would probably have to get 1 or 2 things. I would probably get the Shogun Warriors Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because that's just that was one that I had as a kid. Beyond that, maybe some of my old D&D books, because I enjoy reading them still.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Jason, I wouldn't be quite as zen about it as Jason, but I think for the most part, if the collection was gone, I would replace like a handful of things and move on. Because it is a weight. We were talking earlier about like moving, and
it's hard.
I can't even contemplate trying to move that collection downstairs.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Not at all.
Yeah, that would be hard. Jason, you always talk about your love of G.I. Joe growing up. Do you see yourself ever collecting that line?
No. And only because I had a ton of it as a kid, a ton of it.
You poor thing.
I had friends that had a ton of it. I posted something on one of my childhood friends' page the other day, and he had everything. Well, not everything, but he had so much stuff. And he was the only person I knew growing up that had the Defiant space shuttle playset. Like he got it when it came out for Christmas that year. And I'd send him a message, and I'm like, "Do you ever think it was weird that you got the Defiant but never got the USS Flag? Like, you got the most expensive piece of G.I. Joe toy line ever released, but never got the one right below it? Like, did that ever ring odd to you that you never got that one?" I think today there's Joe prices. Some are cheap, some are expensive. I'd want the stuff that I had as a kid, and the stuff I had as a kid is expensive. I had the Night Force Whale. I'm not going to spend that much money on a Night Force Whale.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I had the what was the red boat? The Moccasin?
The Moray.
The Moray. I had the Moray as a kid. You know, I had a bunch of the little stuff. I never had the play sets, but, you know, I had the Conquest, which is an affordable vehicle. But there's so much Joe, and it's one of those lines where I'm worried if I got back into it, I would go, like, full force on it, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. If I... You know, I can come look at Dave's stuff anytime I want. It's just like, it's cool, but I had a lot of fun with it as a kid. It's just not something as an adult I want to get into again.
All right, next question. It's for Dave. Exactly how long has Devall been troop building The Little Mermaid?
This is as long as I've known him, man.
Since 1989.
1989.
Troop building The Little Mermaid.
Oh, it's a troop down there. Let me tell you what. There's a lot of little PVC faces staring at you when you go downstairs.
Yeah.
Lots.
You've been given your dream job as a toy executive. You need to relaunch a brand with a toy line and media to go with it. What brand do you relaunch, and what does the media that goes with it look like? There's like a whole episode here.
I just want to say that the question's great. That would never be my dream job. I would not want that frustration. I would not want that pressure. Like you know, talking to people who've worked in the toy business, talking to guys like David Vonner who've worked for Hasbro and the Legends line, doing he was the guy that got the little 4-inch line going originally. I wouldn't want any of that pressure, man. Look at poor Scott Knightling, man. All the crap he got for just like being the head of Maddie Collector, and just I wouldn't want it. I would rather be a screenwriter. Give me a property that needs a screenplay if I had the pull that, you know. I honestly think I could write a better Masters movie than David Goyer could right now. Because David Goyer stuff.
I could write a better Masters movie.
Yeah, Dave could write a better Masters movie than David Goyer right now.
My cat might be able to.
Jesus. That's what I would want to do. I would want to help write for the properties to bring them back. I would never want to try to be in charge of the entire thing. I would just want to help be a part of, you know, bringing it back, updating it, making sure it's still true to what the fans remember, but also updating the properties to fit in with today's times, or try to, you know, help them out. What about you, Dave?
I mean, I would probably, if I had that kind of tyrannical power, bring back Joe.
Yes.
And update it, modernize it a little bit. I would be fanboy about it and bring in characters from lines like Cops or Gem. Try to split it so that there's like a new take on it. Because I think Hasbro should do a completely new take on Joe. But since it's my toy line, it'll be very Real American Hero oriented.
Right.
But, media, there'd be a cartoon, new comic. Talk to the studios about doing a more faithful take on the material.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, last question. As a fan of G.I. Joe and a troop builder, when I see stores like Toys R Us shutting down many locations, it upsets me.
108.
Because when there are less stores out there, it is that much harder to hunt out figures, on the rare occasion that they're actually carrying Joes. As we begin to see the shift from brick and mortar to online, what do you think the future will be for tracking down troop builders or short-packed figures? Will internet retailers just charge a premium on those figures? Thanks again, Chris K. from Connecticut.
Well, I think here's a good example of that is the last wave of Last Jedi figures.
Yeah.
It's an Entertainment Earth exclusive. That's it. That's the only place you're going to find them.
Oh, I know.
They're not hitting retail.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's the last wave, but
Yeah.
it's a wave of both the regular carded figures and the 2-packs.
Yeah.
So there's the way it was announced was that they struck a deal with Hasbro to carry them, so someone would get them.
Yeah. I mean, that's, Toys R Us is closing, while not technically Toys R Us's fault, because it's the company that bought them, saddled them with all the debt they had, and then saddled that on top of the debt. And it's a big freaking mess.
It's kind of like what happened to KB Toys.
Yes, in a weird sense, it is. Dave and I talked about this going all the way back to the early episodes. The fact that we're seeing the end of toys at retail in big box stores like Toys R Us. I mean, Walmart's section is slowly dwindling down farther and farther. Well, it's quickly. Target's still got a pretty big toy section, but when you actually walk down it, it's they might be the most regularly stocked toy department that I can think of in retail, because Walmart's are just a disaster. But I think what you're going to find is, and hell, not even Walmart's safe. And look at all the Sam stores they're having to close. I mean, they're closing like 60 Sam stores or something like that. The one time Walmart was top dog, and now it's Amazon. Like, Amazon.com is it.
Amazon is kind of killing the world.
Yeah, and I guess in a bad and a good way. I mean, there's always going to be a brick and mortar for groceries. It's just the nature of the beast. But toys, I think it's only a matter of time. I think in 5 years there won't be Toys R Us. It'll be done.
Yeah.
It will be, every one of them will be shuttered. It'll be closed. I think at that point Walmart will expand their toy aisles a little bit, because they and Target will really be the only toy company, toy stores in the game really, to carry toys at mass retail like that. You're going to see a lot less stuff be made by Hasbro and Mattel.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there's still talks of Hasbro making bids for Mattel, if that ever happens. You're going to see a lot more Kickstarters, like Dave and I talked about.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot more companies like Boss Fight, or like, Fresh Monkey, or Fiction, and Country Fried Toys and stuff like that, doing these lines that they want to see made. It's going to become a more specialty niche, Hot Toys, Sideshow, that kind of thing. Comic stores. I mean, that's where you're going to find toys. I think we've seen the death tolls, and I think it's coming quicker than anyone had really expected. Not that toys are ever going to go away. There's always going to be a collector's market. There's always going to be...
it'll separate. It's been one thing for a very long time, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like toy trains and stuff, and we've talked about that before, and some dolls, like that. There is this little aspect of it that's over here that's become a collector thing, and it's going to split. So the stuff that we care about, like action figures and that kind of thing, is going to be in that train collector hobbyist thing, and then there'll always be stuffed animals and Imagine, I mean, if you look at the aisles, Imagine Next is doing great because it hits that age group that isn't quite on their phones yet.
Yeah.
So it really shouldn't be.
It'll basically be a pre-screen toys, and then delayed adolescence toys market, and then they will split.
Yep, pretty much.
All right, so that's actually the end of the submitted questions. Do we have any YouTube comments or questions that have popped up?
I don't know. I can't pull up the YouTube comments on my phone for some reason.
Oh, good.
I know. It won't.
YouTube comments.
YouTube
won't.
I do. I still have a series more. Next question. Behind the scenes, what does it look like when you guys are preparing for a show?
Preparing.
Okay, let me put this. There used to be, in the early days, I would send links to Dave about stuff I want to talk about on the show, like a day in advance or whatever. And that stopped a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's not. We literally, when we sit down to, let me pull up the questions on my stream for some reason.
No.
When we sit down to actually go through and record an episode, I just set the computer down wherever we're recording. I open up a bunch of tabs for I go through the toy websites and go, we'll talk about this and this and this. Excuse me. And I pull up Slash Film and look through, and sometimes there's stuff that Dave and I will bring to the table that we want to talk about. But
yeah, I mean, if a story's big enough, you can walk into it going, Disney's buying Fox.
Yeah,
we should talk about that.
Yeah, that was frontline enough towards we could pretty much
Toy Fair obviously will walk in going, hey, did you see the pictures of this thing or that thing?
Yeah.
Or like the multiverse figures we were talking about earlier, when that picture showed up and everyone was like, what is this?
Yeah. There's very little preparation anymore. It's just, and I think it's best for Dave and I to just come to things fresh at times, and just look at the things right there and discuss it amongst ourselves and be like, what, whether it's good or bad, be like, what are they doing, or how great do you think this is? That's how I feel. I don't know how David feels. Sometimes I think Dave is the type of person who wants there to be a plan. A lot of times. And I come into the game going, let's just do it. And Dave's like,
If it's a trip somewhere...
If it's a trip somewhere, yes.
Yes, having a plan would be nice.
And Dave does not like to go off the beaten path.
I hate going off the beaten path.
Don't get off the highway.
Don't
Never get off the highway.
Never get off the boat. Never get off the boat.
I've taken Dave off the boat many trips.
Yeah, I mean, it is... I like having a little bit of a schedule so that we record on day A.
Yeah.
And I've figured out that if I want this day, then tell you the day before.
Yeah.
And you will all, no matter what day we pick as the official day, he will always push it back a day. Always. I don't understand. There's always a different excuse, but it always gets pushed back.
You should maybe tell him 2 days before then. You actually want to do it.
Nah. Well, I mean, he's settled into this whole thing now because he's got plans. Like Thursday, he's got kind of plans every now and then. So
yeah,
can't record on Thursday. We're locked into Wednesday. Apparently.
Yeah, we were locked into Tuesday for a long time, and we had to change that.
Yeah,
because of Dave.
Not permanently.
Not permanently.
Don't even start on me about who calls off more shows. But yeah, I mean, there's a thing where like it will literally be like one of the things I have an issue with that bugs me, and I've told you about this.
I know. We're just airing dirty laundry, people.
It's just
That's what the rest of the show is.
Just
dirty laundry.
He's better at it now because he gets me in the morning. But it used to be that it could be like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It could be 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you get a message that like, come over at 6. It's like, were we recording? Were we doing this?
Yeah.
And nowadays he usually texts me about like 10, 11 o'clock.
Sometimes 12.
But it could also be we're not doing it today.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours. Like there was one time I was in the car driving over, and he's like, "Yeah, I got to call it off for tonight."
I'm a bad friend.
He waits to the last. So
bad friend.
It's not that I'm like really anal retentive about having to have this perfect plan. It's just I'd like to know more than like 5 minutes in advance what I'm doing.
I can guarantee you, and Dave will either acknowledge this or stay quiet, but I am probably to blame for like 60% of Dave's stress on a weekly level sometimes.
Do you agree?
No.
Not that much?
70?
No, you definitely flatter yourself, sir.
A little higher?
No, he's lower.
Oh, okay.
You're the thing about the time is annoying, but other than that, you don't really stress me out that much.
I'd like to say, like, I don't know if we talked about this show, but Dave and I are going to Gen Con this year. And
the irony is that didn't stress me out at all.
I know. Like, we're going to Gen Con. You
stressed yourself out.
I did. We were going to Gen Con this year. And Gen Con last year was at, like, the middle of August. Well, this year they went back to, I guess, their original schedule. And it's the first weekend in August. So Dave and I made plans to go. And then it never registered with me that Carrie and I were going to take our vacation in August instead of September for our anniversary and go to Tennessee and go on the 127, which is the big garage that we've talked about plenty of times. And so Carrie and I made those plans. And then Dave sends me a text 2 weeks ago now.
It's not random. He goes,
no, because I was looking up prices.
Registration's up.
Yeah, I was like, hey, the tickets are on sale on Gen Con. I was like, oh, they're $70. Were they that much that last year? I don't remember that. Just making conversation on a Sunday. And then Dave sends me a text on a Monday, goes, I bought my ticket for Gen Con. I'm like, great. And I go to look, and I'm like, oh, no, I've made a terrible miscalculation and a horrible mistake. Like, for 2 hours at work, am like back and forth with Carrie on the phone, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, my best friend is going to be furious with me. I'm like, at first I was trying to find somebody to go in my place with him because I'm like, Dave is locked into Saturday. Like, I'm screwed. I can't go. And so I'm like talking to everybody else we play games with, like, you guys going to Gen Con? Because somebody might have to go in my place because Dave's going to be angry at me and I'm going to be a horrible friend because I can't go on Saturday because I screwed up bad. And I'm like, I can't cancel out on Carrie because we booked a hotel.
So I walk in to record that day and he is just like the saddest face, like, dude, there's something I got to tell you.
Oh, my God.
And this is the exact same day that the news about YouTube channels getting... Like the
demonetized.
really low,
the low subscriber.
Yeah, the low subscriber one's getting really kind of the hatchet job, and he's like, I got to, and I'm like, oh God, we got hit, and it's not gonna be worth your while to do it anymore, and the site's dead, and you want to quit, and that's what I'm thinking. It's like, I can't go on Saturday to Gen Con.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. It's like, I'm really, really sorry. And he's
like, I can go on Sunday, but can't go on Saturday.
Carrie comes out and she's like, he's really sorry. He's been worried sick.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay. Are we going at all? And you're like, yeah, I want to go Sunday. I'm like, okay.
Like that to me was the hardest thing. Like, you know, Dave and I have been friends now for almost, God, 8.5, 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah, and that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do with Dave. And I've had to talk Dave down. We've had issues where we've had to talk to each other and been like, dude, you got to stop. Like,
Yeah.
we've had those, you know, we just like anyone would. But having to tell my best friend that after planning this trip with him, that I planned a trip that same weekend with my wife, and me going, like, who is going to be madder at me? Like, I canceled, Dave or Carrie? I'm like, well, I live with Carrie. Carrie will kill me. Like, I was scared. Like, I thought Dave is going to be calm when he's here, and then when he goes home, he is just going to be like, damn it, Dave,
No.
or damn it, Devall. And it was the easiest thing. Dave was like, all right, I'll get my return for the ticket, you know, because I think they charged him $10 to return the ticket.
Well, I mean, I was like, oh, and I gotta jump. The only thing that annoyed me was I gotta jump through these hoops.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, is it worth? Because you know me, I still have my album.
He still has album covers from Target he bought that didn't fit, that he
don't
won't
fit.
return.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was the last. Actually, the previous to last Toy Man.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it worth just writing off the $70 and just walking away? And finally, I was like, nah, $70 is a lot of money. So I wrote this thing, and I'm like, you know, I'm jumping through your hoops. I just want my money back. Blah blah blah. The guy was like, yes, we return your money right away. No problem, sir. I'm just like, thank you, jerk.
Yeah.
Thank you for being.
That was very kind of you.
And then of course they charged me.
They did charge me $10.
So I bought Dave's ticket for Black Panther because I'm like, we'll be even that way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was the hardest thing.
That was for me. That was the funniest thing because he was so serious, and I'm just like, oh, okay,
so
whatever.
Bad. So bad.
I thought this was something important, man.
Yeah. Our buddy Chris Sheets actually is texting me the questions from the YouTube comments since we can't get to them.
Oh, nice, nice.
Okay.
So this one is from.
Be honest, are they being horrible to us? Like,
no.
the questions are probably fine.
Oh, there's Mark.
Yeah, there's Mark. Doogie Forever says, "Do you still go to the Toy Man Toy Show?"
Yes,
we do.
I
took over Josh's job now. Josh just gets to sit there and look pretty.
It's a tough job.
One of us has to.
One of us has to.
Yeah, we missed the last one because you had something planned, or you just didn't want to go.
I just didn't feel like going.
Oh, I know what it was. I remember. We'll talk about that later. You really want to talk about that later?
Fair enough.
Talk about it off air.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna be like, "What is this secret thing? He killed a hooker." But and then I got really sick on that.
Well,
Sunday.
Dave got really sick too, but
Yeah.
I just was just like, eh.
Yeah, so I missed out on a birthday meal from Irizarry,
Yeah, you did.
which but I got sick anyway, so
Yeah.
it all worked out the same way.
I need to check out one of these Toy Mans one day.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, it'd be a heck of a drive for you, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd have to make a whole 3-day weekend of it, but I want to.
Yeah. Be fun.
Yeah.
We do. We just still go to Toy. Tony H said, "Is that poured tweet thing a video?" No.
No,
It was just on the podcast.
I need to
It was
scrape
just-
up some money and pay Harry Partridge. To do
Yeah,
it.
pay Harry Partridge to animate the damn thing. Although if we sent it to Harry and been like, "Would you animate this?" and then just credit us,
No, he gets paid for his work.
he does. Although bless his
We're
heart,
not gonna be those guys.
bless his heart, he
We'll give you
does.
exposure, man.
He does still have a standing thing out there to do something free for like a little
Oh,
5
if he
second
offered,
thing.
that's his problem. Then we absolutely take advantage.
Jason Trant says, "What are Jason's pet peeves that drives Dave crazy, and vice versa regarding toy collecting?"
Regarding
Toy
toy
collecting,
collecting,
yeah.
whoops. I just hate how you always seem to be able to talk people into things. And I just hit a brick wall where it's like they're like, yeah, this guy's got money. I'm not cutting him a deal on anything, and you
Why were you
BS
doing deals with Palpatine?
Hey,
That is a good question.
Just do it.
Do it.
Do it. But yeah, it does annoy me
No.
that you get you get bargains and deals, and I never get
He
it.
just walks in at bargains from the sounds of it.
I do. It's weird. Like, and it's
People
not
like him for some reason. I don't understand it.
I Carrie said it best when we'll go out. I can talk to anyone about anything and strike up a friendly conversation with them, and that's usually what I do at shows and stuff. Is I'll start a conversation.
And then he walks away and says the most, and I'm not even joking, says the most horrible thing about people.
Sometimes.
Hey, you bought stuff from me.
No, not you.
Okay.
There are some dealers that I'm very friendly with. Not
Oh,
anyone
I
that
don't
we
even
know
mean dealers.
personally.
I meant humanity in general.
Okay.
I didn't mean to particularly get you in touch with the dealer community.
I love our fans, and I've always said this, but when I worked at Toys R Us, like, I love animals more than I love people. So there are some people I'll meet and I'll be really nice to, and then we'll walk away and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Why?
It's funny that the two most people, you and Tracy, were like the two most, get you out in public and they talk to people and they engage. You get them in private and they hate. Like, I'm the curmudgeon. I like humanity more than these two people do.
Yeah. As for pet peeves for Dave's toy collecting, I don't think Dave really has anything that really drives me nuts. Like, although he does still have like 4 record frames sitting there that he could have just easily taken back to Target.
Yeah, it's just
The
right over
shame.
there.
The shame.
That are just sitting there. That now is probably almost past the 90-day return policy.
Oh, I'm certain of it.
He
That's-
can
where they
still get
can't
store
be.
credit.
He could, but he just refuses to do it. I don't know if it's just because he's like, I don't want to do it, or he does it just to spite me. And also, there's a board game on his table over here that is Star Wars Rebellion. That
Which is based on an old computer game
is
that I
based on a
love.
computer game. Did Brad buy that for you? Or did
No,
he
I
talk-
bought that. No, Brad did not buy
He
that.
talked
for
you
me.
into buying it.
No,
'Cause he told you
maybe
it was
a
like the
little.
old computer game.
Yeah,
You
that's
were like, all right, I'll
to
buy
be
it.
fair, that's all it took.
And Dave, we have never played it.
It's still
In the shrink wrap.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want it to lose its value. It's collector value.
Dave does that.
I
Dave
don't want to lose the collector
that.
value. It's a very
Dave-
collectible game. Thor is
Dave
very
does
popular.
that because he knows it annoys the hell out of both me and Brad because it just sits there looking at us.
See, if it only annoyed one of you, you might be able to break me down.
But it's both of
But
us.
it's a twofer.
Because I want to play it. And Dave's like, no.
No.
And
It's
it'll
good for
never
looking
get
at.
played. It will never get played. I can guarantee you that because Dave will
The
continue
odds are
that
I would buy a
charade.
second copy before I open that one up. Like
Oh
when
my
you
God,
break me
why?
down to like actually wanting to play it,
Why?
God, I just want to keep that one wrapped up like that because it bothers you so much.
It does. It really does.
But
It just
the collector,
drives me
the
nuts.
collector value,
Thur. Our buddy Slim Mark 1. Our buddy Mark says, Devall, when are you coming back to Disney World? That's more of a Carrie question, really, because she's the woman in charge of funding those trips. Although we do want to come back because we this last trip we did where we did Disney World and all 4 parks in a day.
Oof.
Don't ever do it. It's stressful. That sucked.
Well, if you're trying to actually do anything.
Well, yeah, and we only had 1 day to go. We really want to come back, stay on property, hang out, and just have a good time, and go at our leisurely pace like we usually do. I don't know. It'll probably be. Dave really wants to go back when Star Wars opens at the end of 2019. I still strongly think that going that year is a bad idea.
It might end up being 2020.
It might be 2020. Carrie and I might make a small trip back there before then. I don't know, but I know there are plans in place to go with Dave when he goes to Disney because we would like to do that just because it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So, but as of right now, that's kind of the plan.
I don't think it's ever going to actually die down. The popularity.
Oh, God,
It's
no,
gonna be
no.
bad.
No, but I mean it's gonna be crazy, like super
First,
super
like
crazy.
first couple months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be nuts.
400-minute waits.
I know.
D.A. Dawson asked, Dave, do you enjoy Star Trek Discovery?
It's funny. I haven't watched it yet. I was really down on it from what I had heard about the show, and I still have issues with it. But I've heard the big mid-season twist, and now I'm like, when it comes out on the DVDs, I might give it a shot.
Am I buying it a shot?
I am legitimately intrigued by because they said from the beginning, you got to give us time, you got to let us
build
and
the
I was
story.
like, nope, making instant judgments about you now. And now I heard this twist, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. That's neat.
You're like, all right, well, what
It's
the
a
hell?
nerd thing, so
What the hell?
third.
SOMDUC says, I love G.I. Joe. Why do you think it's not as popular with the new generation? Because I would love to see constant Joe toys released, or do you like it released the way it is now? Well, right now we don't have nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, other than JoeCon, and that's about done. Unless you go to HasCon, and maybe HasCon will have something this year. It's hard to say.
They had stuff, but nothing.
Yeah, they had stuffs, but nothing like JoeCon's
Well,
going to have.
well, yeah, but what I meant was that it was stuff from Comic-Con.
Right.
And, like, bagged extra figures. But they had something. They acknowledged it.
As I say, I think the problem with Joe is just nobody wants military toys right now.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It happened in the 70s as well. And also, the bad guys are terrorists.
I'm okay.
Don't die.
Okay,
You all right? Tweet,
No,
tweet.
I'm good. Porg. Just,
Yeah.
That happens around
Straight
here, man. You
porg,
gotta
yeah.
be careful.
I was gonna my other shtick was I was gonna have a porg and just like whip it at you, going tweet, tweet, tweet.
Oh, God, that's all I need. Yeah, that's just the problem is that, just like Dave said in the '70s, nobody wants military toys.
Yeah.
Even though Toys R Us has got an entire friggin' aisle
Of those Chap-May true heroes.
that sells,
military stuff.
and you know who this sells to? Joe collectors.
A lot of us, yeah.
And I see a lot of kids running down the aisles, like with big boxes, like, look at this great giant vehicle I have.
And if there were Joe toys on the line today, you'd have people protesting them because they're military toys, and of course it's just all the rage right now. But nobody protests those because nobody cares because it has no like pop culture connection. It's not big enough for people to go.
It's some cheap little thing, so people don't really get bothered by it.
Yeah.
Where G.I. Joe's high profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just the mood of the country has, and hopefully it'll come back one day.
Yeah, I imagine it will eventually. I mean, they've talked about Joe coming back. The next
they're gonna have
movie's
to
kind of been
reinvent
greenlit.
it.
They
They're
got to
just-
revamp it.
Yeah.
This is something that we've talked about with, I know Irizarry personally, where Joe needs to let go of the 80s.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have them letting go of the 60s and the Adventure Team, you would have never gotten Real
The
American
80s,
Hero.
yeah.
And they need to reinvent it if they want
Yeah.
to keep the brand fresh.
I agree. Portal 2099 says, when is Bigfoot going to start doing toy reviews?
Never.
Well, technically he does. If you watch Pixel Dan, you're already watching Bigfoot in a sense.
Oh.
Just a little secret behind the scenes there. For those of you that didn't know, Danny is the voice of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Although I could do a pretty solid Bigfoot, pretty solid Danny doing Bigfoot. It's not as good. Hey everybody. Hi Dave. Hey Floorburger. It's me, Bigfoot. You want to come back to my cave and play some games?
When did Pixel Dan get here? Where is he?
That might be one of the greatest accidental creations we've ever had.
Yeah.
Was just Danny being a doofus and doing that voice and me going, I'm going to animate that somehow. And it went down a rabbit hole. And then we created a whole backstory for him, which I don't know. We'll never.
Which is probably why we don't use him anymore. He's been tainted. We went too far.
Personally, we went too far. Not publicly. Personally. The
Oh,
storylines-
no. I think publicly we went pretty far, and then personally we just kept going.
Oh, yeah. We kept going down the rabbit hole.
It was so wrong. We're monsters.
One of these days, I'll have to release the audio of Danny doing the doing the Bigfoot song.
Or maybe we just get Danny to pony up some. How much is it worth to you, son?
Doing
That
the-
audio to never be released.
'cause the end of
Family
that-
friendly Dan Ridley.
Because the end of that audio is just Danny like laughing hysterically for 5 minutes because it's the funniest thing he's ever done to himself at that moment. He's just like, "Oh my god, this is ridiculous."
You could add that as a Patreon bonus if
There you go.
Yeah,
if you ever get a Patreon.
yeah. Bigfoot doing toy reviews would be very. I might have to talk about Danny. Be like, "Hey, what do you think about Bigfoot doing a toy review at some point?"
He might pass out from the exertion of doing the voice for so long.
Yeah.
Bigfoot passed out.
Oh no!
Oh,
Hey
bummer.
everybody. Alexis Universe says, "Congrats on 300. Love that porg." And my question is, are you looking forward to She-Ra? The relaunch.
No.
I say I don't think Dave has any because Dave's like, "Hey, Master She-Ra."
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it. It's just another show that
I think
doesn't. I'm not, not into like Voltron. I'm not into She-Ra.
And I don't know if it's the same team that does Voltron is doing She-Ra. The art style looks like it's the same to me in a way. I'm kind of curious to see what they do with it because they've already said they're going to reference He-Man. Like,
yeah, it was weird that they went that way.
yeah, but I mean, She-Ra. We'll see. It's supposed to be out sometime this year, I guess. I'm curious. Because I think the Voltron series they did on Netflix is amazing. So I'm curious to see what they do with She-Ra, and all the people bitching about it, bad-mouthing it, are just. I mean, like bitching about the David Goyer battlesuit Tila. I get that. I'm cool with that. That's fine. But the She-Ra thing, like, we've seen a drawing, and it's suddenly like it's the worst thing ever. And it's like, yes, I realize that is that makes no sense to what I just said about the battlesuit Tila, but like let's be honest, the battlesuit Tila looks pretty awful. Now, we haven't seen a frame. That's the only thing we've seen. It's a really far view of it. Like, it's hard to tell what exactly it is, but
I think the anger from that was just, again, the first Masters movie was so far away from the source material. This
Yeah.
one image could not be any further.
Yeah,
away.
any further away from the
So
source material.
what's the point?
He says, not a question, but Sean, our buddy Sean Russell Wheeler says he wanted to let us know that he loves us and he looks forward to another 300. So here's to another 300.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think so. I think the day will come where Dave and I will be like, I think we've talked about everything we can talk about. Like, not anytime soon, but Jay Norris wants to know, will we post any more old podcasts? And he's referencing the week that we were sick. Instead of doing a show, I put up the original Animated World of Dave and Devall podcast we did at PCN, which gladly Damien Killen gave the blessing for, because I did ask him, because technically, if you look at it, he owns those podcasts because they were on the PCN. But he was like, yeah, I don't care, go ahead. There are episodes that have never been heard of that show. We did episodes that never aired because I left before they could go up.
Yeah.
So I think eventually I am going to release them, as well as the pilot.
Yeah, we need to plug my hard drive into your computer one of these days.
Yeah, because Dave has a bunch of episodes him and Das did.
A couple,
of the Animated World of Adas Barone and Dave. Of Dave and Adas Barone, I guess is
something
flipped that way.
Remember.
That they were going to do a show of, and it just never...
The computer conked out.
Yeah, the computer conked out, and Das, of course, is now doing a great podcast with his wife, or his girlfriend, his wife. Sorry, Das, I had you guys married in my head already.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Congratulations.
Yeah!
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov! I need a glass to break. Give me that tiki.
No.
Oh, damn it. So yeah, I will put some old material. Like there's still like, I think there's like 10 total of Animated World podcasts from Dave and I, and then there's probably 4 or 5 with you and Das. Grimmy's Reviews wants to know, so what's bigger, the combined city modes of Metroplex, Tripticon, and Fort Max, or the Flag? Are you talking about the new ones?
I honestly, it would be really close.
I think if you transform the new Metroplex, Tripticon, and Fort Max into their city modes and laid them out, I still don't think they would be as long as the Flag.
And we're talking 7.5 or 7 feet.
Yeah.
7 foot long was the Flag, and I don't think those
does
city
the Tripticon
modes...
do that kind of BS?
Yeah, it does this V, so that takes some space out. If you flipped him on his side, maybe it'd add a little space, but I don't think they're as long as the Flag.
I think it's close.
I think it's very close, yes. And then Tony H says, do you think they will ever release another wave of the True Legends toys that True Heroes made? I don't know if I remember those.
True Legends did that was kind of their catch-all for like a lot of things. If you mean the fantasy waves.
Oh.
Ooh, that's
somebody's streaming a podcast behind me.
That's sort of meta.
Yeah. I know what he's talking about. Like the True Heroes things at Toys R Us, they would do like pirates, and fantasy, and ninjas.
Yeah.
The thing is, they always tend to do it when there's something else that's kind of the same
Yeah, kind of.
Like when the Pirates movies come out, they do a pirate theme. When Lord of the Rings came out, when The Hobbit came out, they did the fantasy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so long as there's something to kind of copy and make money off of, there will always be True Heroes.
Yeah. And they just mixed
or True Legends.
Didn't they just mix the military with the fantasy line too? I think.
I haven't seen that one. I mean, I don't
it's
doubt
that tree
it.
monster that they made.
Oh yeah, no, that's over in the Animal Planet.
Yeah.
Because it's it's scientific.
Yeah,
you're learning from it.
It's a plant monster.
Yeah, you're learning how to fight plants.
So I have a series of questions. I call it my Inside the Actors Studio kind of questions.
Right.
So
is this the
Yeah, it is. So
I'm trying to remember Bernard something. All right.
So one-word answers, and all these questions keep them in the vein of collecting or whatever. So some are a little bit more clear. So what is an action figure or collectible that you cannot believe has been made?
Tales from the Crypt Keeper. Hate that line. Awful.
Walter White would be one that would be a surprise.
What other hobby or pastime would you like to attempt?
I'd like to get back into model painting.
opinion.
I'd love to get back into playing D&D.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
My wife.
Music.
Music. What is your favorite word? Can you say it?
It's an F-bomb.
Do you need to type it in?
No, it's. I think that might be my favorite word.
My favorite word has, like with everything in my life, has a story behind it. Where in college we had this friend from Sweden, and of course he didn't know the swear words. So we started teaching him the swear words because of, that was the responsible thing for us to do.
Of course.
And when we got to the word MF, his blue eyes lit up and his smile went all cherubic, and like just in this, can I say it? Can I say the word? Because he did it. It was just this happy little way. It was like mother. And
that's good enough.
And then we had to like convince him like you can't go around saying that to everybody because you will get stabbed. But just the way he would say it, and the joy he would say it with.
It's like in the movie Bean, where Mr. Bean is just flicking everybody off
because he thinks it's the wave.
Yeah. What is your least favorite word?
The joke with everybody who knows me is work.
Least favorite word. Broke.
Especially if it's a He-Man toy.
Yeah. Gotta be careful with that.
Gotta be careful with that. It's really fragile. Oh, guess I own that now. Awesome. Hey, Danny, let me see your really expensive Masters toy. This is Snap. Oh.
No, he came downstairs. He's like, "Where's the Black Star Castle?" I said, "I will break your little arms."
You should wrap him in bubble wrap before he goes down there. What turns you off?
Mean, obnoxious people.
Pettiness, like a mean but petty for like no reason.
What profession could you see yourself in?
Screenwriting.
Advertising.
You look the part right now.
Yeah.
And then what is something that when you see it, you have to buy it?
Little Mermaid.
Bosk.
And what is something you have enjoyed about the last 300 episodes?
Getting to spend at least one day a week with my best friend talking about toys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting every week, I think there's some weeks that are harder than others. Not the sense that, I'll be like, Dave's coming over, but it's just like, depending on what's going on. I mean, like we said, this last year's been hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. Too many damn animal deaths and just a rough year. Sickness and just bleh. There'd been days where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this today. And then Dave will come over and it'll be like, all that goes away.
Yeah.
And that to me is the most fun. Like I said earlier, that to me is the most fun of the show is getting to spend every week with him and either watching him roll his eyes at something I've said because he's just like, oh my God. Or just the shit. What's fun for me is when I can make Dave laugh.
Yeah.
Either because he breaks me and it's the funniest thing to him, or just something I say, and it doesn't happen very often with Dave. The same way with Carrie is if I can say something and make them laugh, to me that's golden. That's the most. That to me is the best thing ever.
The parts I usually laugh at the most is when you sort of flub up a word.
Yes.
And then he calls you out on it, and that's where we got the Lando Calrissian picture I put out.
Oh yeah.
It started years ago when I was trying to say amalgam. Because they had that
amalgam.
Amalgam, I mean. Thank you.
Amalgam?
Again, that's actually what I said. And that wasn't even between Dave and I. That was years ago when I wrestled. And there's a guy that wrestled with us named Justin Jones. And he was talking about something, and I always remember that the series that DC Marvel did for that they called Amalgam.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was Amalgam. I didn't know any better. I'm not a damn thesaurus. So we were at the gym one night. We had done wrestling workouts and stuff, and we were working on the next show. And he was talking about something. And I was like, "Oh, it's like an amalgam." And they all stopped and turned to me, and Justin, laughing, was like, "What?" And I was like, "Amalgam," And he goes, "You mean amalgam?" And I'm like, "Well, that's what I said." So it's not just something new. It's Carrie could attest to that too, because I'll say something. Carrie goes, "I think you mean this." And I'm like, "Well, that's what I said, right?" No.
So,
I'm one of the smartest people and also one of the dumbest people. When I'm like, I know that word.
It's like in Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live, where Sean Connery will butcher something. I was watching that recently.
Oh God.
See, I can never go on Jeopardy because I just know at some point I would not be able to stop myself and go, "Shuck it, Trebek."
I'll take the tits now. That's Let It Snow.
Anal bum covers.
Oh my God.
That's an album cover?
An album cover? Chris sent me one other question from Giant Guy 1321. Name one toy line that you dislike, but just had to have one figure from it because that lone figure simply looked cool. Oh, I don't know if I have any toy lines like that.
I've always had issues with Masters. It's not my favorite toy line, but Classics was so cool.
Yeah.
I have a lot of class, and of course I've gone back and picked up one or two pieces, but it's not really my line.
Right.
But that would be the closest.
That'd be closest. I don't know if I have a toy line like that where I'm just like, I dislike the toy line, but that one piece was so cool I just had to have it.
There's some McFarlane stuff, I think, for me.
I have a lot of McFarlane stuff, so I can't say that for sure.
Because
Dave and I went to that Gall auction before I realized that was Gall's auction. They had a bunch of G.I. Joe stuff and then just had like stacks of McFarlane stuff, and nobody wanted it.
Except for this one lady.
Except for this one lady, and she was like...
She wanted one figure from each stack.
And we finally, like, she kept bidding up stuff, and we finally had to convince her, like, "What do you want?" She's like, "I just want that one figure." And we were like, "Let us buy it. You can just have the figure. Like, trust us. Like, you're spending way too much money on these." And so Dave and I bought stacks of them for like $5 or $10 a pop. Like, that's how we ended up with all these McFarlane toys. We're like, we don't really want them, but yeah, they're cheap. What the hell? And we had it like the back of my truck was full. Like, we thought we were going to lose some on the way home.
I'm not sure that we didn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we didn't, but oh, buddy.
Out.
Yeah, buddy.
That's a report of stray toys in the highway.
Dave and I think over the years, I think that's the other thing with my favorite thing about this show is that because of this, because of everything we've done together, had led us to become best friends and brothers to a degree, that we've had some ridiculous adventures because of toys. Whether it's driving my truck after my wife has specifically told me...
my witness, I thought it was a real pickup truck.
After my wife specifically told me not to take the truck to Toyman because of the weather, and we should have taken Dave's car.
Yeah,
which
my
is what
big
Scotty
husky
Cash said.
Toyota Echo.
Yeah, which was safer than my Ford Ranger.
Well, okay, but like, I didn't know that a pickup truck was... It's a little Toyota Echo. How was I supposed to use a pickup? It's a pick-em-up truck.
It's not. It's not
just
at
the way
all.
the wind hits it or something?
Oh, no, it's just...
it's made out of, like, whatever sub-aluminum amalgam they use.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, no, it hit black ice south of Springfield and just...
Hit black ice going 50 miles an hour.
Oh,
yeah.
When was this?
It was a couple years ago.
Several years ago now, yeah. But it just spun. Like, luckily, we're the only person on the highway.
This would have predated Toy World Order.
Yeah, this was at PCN still.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, hit that black ice and just spun, man. Just... And I remember looking at Dave as we started to spin. I'm like, dude, hold on. Because I didn't know what... Like, I'm trying to steer into the spin to keep it from flipping. Because I'm like, if I spin the wheels the other way, we're flipping. Like, I'm just trying to keep it upright. And I'm like, I just hope to God we go into the ditch and don't hit anything. And luckily, we went into the ditch and didn't hit anything. And nothing happened to the truck. But
this is the best part of the story.
After that, once we got the truck out of the snowdrifts and back on the road...
Keep in mind, just south of Springfield.
We weren't that far. We were 10 minutes outside of town. And I was like, he was like, well, what do we do? And I was like, oh, we came this far. We might as well keep going. And the whole drive there.
Cut to a SpongeBob SquarePants. 7 hours later, he finally pulls back up in my driveway. His hands are like in agony because he's been clutching the wheel. But we went down there and we came back. That was it. What had happened is it had rained the night before. And then it snowed, and then it froze.
Yeah.
And like Illinois just did a horrible job clearing the roads.
Yeah, Missouri was fine.
No, Missouri was bad when we came in the morning. Yeah. But as we left, the roads in Missouri were fine, and we're like, hey, maybe everything's not so bad after hit the Illinois line. Jason's famous quote is that we saw like a car do a spin out, like a 180, and I was like, man, can you imagine one of those big rigs doing that? Ooh. on the way back, we saw multiple big rigs facing the wrong way on the ride home.
Yeah, T-boned and just.
I used to see that a lot.
It was that was definitely
Well,
a bonding experience.
We were at standstill traffic on the highway because of the accidents around us. And I look in my rearview mirror and I see this guy in his van coming as fast as he can. And I told David, I was like, watch this crazy shit. I'm like, I don't know if we're going to get hit or what's going to happen. And we watched this guy hit ice and spin and just like go off on the side of the road, and the snow just covers him and he vanishes. And I'm like, I don't know where that truck went, but he's gone. Like, it just gone. That was a bonding experience for sure. What was the song that was playing on the radio on the way back?
Raise Your Glass.
Yes. Yep.
So what you're saying...
Pink's Raise Your Glass. We can never listen to that song the same way.
So what you're saying is that one of the benefits is that as you become brothers, you become friends, you've almost died together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the true relationship. That's excellent.
It's interesting to think about, just the ridiculousness that we've seen together over the course of all of this has been, whether it's that or website drama or just the most insane thing you couldn't think would happen. And you'd be like, all right, well, glad you're here with me, Dave.
Yeah.
But did you get any good toys?
Yes.
Yeah, actually we did.
Okay.
We did that
Well,
trip.
then that counts.
Yeah, we did. I found a She-Ra set that I didn't have. That was a plus.
I got my collection of Willow figures.
Yeah. That was worth going.
Totally.
Wasn't worth Carrie finding out about it and me getting in trouble, but it was worth going.
As God is my witness, I thought the truck was better than my Echo. It's a truck. It's got truck in the name.
It wasn't at all.
No, it was a terrible
at all.
idea.
It was a terrible, terrible idea. Oh, man. Well, Josh, thank you
Yeah,
for hanging
thank
out
you.
with us. Thank you
Yeah,
for being
no,
the
this has
MC.
been a lot of fun.
Sure, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely,
you.
my friend.
I mean, I think I can speak on behalf of the community. Thank you guys. This has been an honor.
No, stop it. It's not an honor to sit here with us. It's
No,
just
more of a
it's just
paid
us.
privilege.
Yeah, more of a paid privilege. Chris has a question for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you, Mr.
He says, for those of us unfamiliar with the story, please tell us where you got your nickname Floorburger from.
Oh. We have to share that story together.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll grab...
Grab the Hoff.
All right, so the Hoff, Mark Anthony and I were heading down to visit my brother who lives just north of here in Normal.
Right.
And we stopped at a flea market in Gardner, which is about 60 miles north of Normal. And there was a guy selling, I think he might have been a random shirtless dude selling stuff out of
Those are the best people to buy from.
out of like a container unit. It was all auction stuff, and he had a box of toys. And Mark and I started looking through it, and I'm kind of digging through, and I start noticing some interesting pieces, and I'm like, oh, what can I do? And what should I get? He's like, oh yeah, they're about everything in there is $5 each. So I start going through. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what and I literally pulled this out. I'm like, it looks like a Star Wars figure, but it's bigger. So I don't know what that is. So I just threw it back in. So while we're talking to the guy, he's like, yeah, I'll sell you the whole box for $50. I'm like, there's way more than that in here. So sure, why not? I'll go ahead and do that. So we ran off because I was like, oh, that's really steep, but I'll take it just to be nice.
Right.
So we make the drive down and we start going through the box. And I had mentioned earlier there's a weird substance covering everything in the box. It was sticky and oily and it was weird and gross. And so I keep staring at it. I'm like, who is this? And I look, and on his belt buckle, it's got a K. So I figure out it's Knight Rider. It's David Hasselhoff. Right. So in the box, I also had a couple other vehicles. So I started taking pictures of him, just doing random stuff, like just over-exaggerated, ironic sort of stuff David Hasselhoff may or may not do.
Yeah.
Riding in He-Man vehicles, and I started posting them on the group.
Yeah. When you started commenting as the Hoff, because I think what happened was, like, you were commenting as the Hoff
in third person,
and then I had like a picture of the puppet, and I would use him to comment back as the puppet, and he and Hoff got into it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you had said Floorburger.
Well, yeah, he called you Floorburger to be mean because
Hasselhoff
famously was taped by his daughter when he was drunk eating a cheeseburger off the floor.
Yeah, and I just owned it. I took it. I was like, that's awesome, and I started really enjoying it. And it's close to my last name, Flood. So sometimes I go by Floodburger in certain circles. And
That's a lot of burgers, man.
It just kind of worked out, and I just really liked the name, and I thought it was hilarious, and it was sort of, I ironically took it as my my title.
That's his own.
Yeah,
That's his title.
It's kind of what you have to do with Dave and I when something like that happens. You just need to take it and own it and just run with it, man.
And it's been that way for a while. The Hoff is still that ironic figure. He travels around with me different places, and when I take trips, and it's fun sometimes. There's so many funny pictures of David Hasselhoff out there.
Yeah.
Like the one with the dog and the parachute that I posted earlier.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can't do with David Hasselhoff.
That's true.
And then he comes back in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was going to say, at the moment that happened in the movie, I was like, oh, god damn, Josh Flood's never going to shut up about this.
Josh forever now is going to be Hasselhoff!
Yeah, so one of these does stand with my Guardians of the Galaxy right now.
Which
so
is awesome.
I have two. One from my mom.
We've done that with a number of people. Puppet started calling Danny Pickle Man.
Yeah.
And that actually stuck with some of Danny's fans.
Did
Danny's
it?
like, yeah.
Oh,
Because
good.
Danny at one point was like, somebody on YouTube just called me Pickle Man. Dude. I'm like, what? Like, sorry. Like, it's funny.
Well, then I thought Das. I thought he was like Spanish or Latino, the way you guys would say.
Das Barón.
I'm like, he doesn't sound like Latino or.
And it was
Spanish.
always Baron, and I don't know why I started calling him Barón. Das Barón.
I guess
It just sounded better. Like, it just sounded more fun to me to say it that way.
He told,
Das Barón.
he told me it was a name that he got in college, and when I mail stuff to him. I don't know his real name. I don't know.
Few people do.
Yeah. It's been hinted, but
I know.
I can't
I
confirm
will tell
anything.
no one.
We'll talk after the show.
No, I won't tell you.
Okay. Sorry.
I keep a secret identity safe, damn it.
It's all good.
Yes.
It's all good.
Yes.
But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Your show, the community you guys have set up, has meant a lot to a lot of people.
Which is awesome.
And, whether it's 100, 200, 300, I hope you guys just keep going, keep doing what you do.
Thank you.
We will
So it's
for some time.
fantastic.
I mean, we've, Dave and I talked about this on the last show that, this year I think is going to be a little better overall.
Be hard pressed to get worse.
Yeah, it'd be hard pressed to get worse, that's for sure.
Somewhere someone's going, hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer. We haven't really talked about plans for the puppet this year, but we've had people ask when is he coming back, because people really miss the puppet, which boggles my mind. Like,
it's different. It's unique. Nobody does anything like that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people. There's
some people that do stuff.
Puppet, the guy that literally is called just Puppet. He does wrestling stuff. He's pretty big.
Oh yeah,
But I mean, as for what we do with the puppet, like,
No.
it's, we did reveal that he'll have been moved this year for Board when Board comes back. He lives in a new place now. He's no longer in the closet. He lives in the laundry room.
Oh, good.
Mostly because I had to move all the games downstairs, so that made more sense. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've talked about doing that I think this year is just finally going to happen, because I'm tired of talking about it. And it's just I've been cleaning up downstairs because it's been a mess since I filmed the Halloween episode of Board down there, and just kind of getting things ready so Dave and I can shoot, can film again, can actually get some stuff done, get some stuff worked on. So I find it amazing that we've, the community we've built and the fans that watch the show and listen and watch the reviews and stuff have really enjoyed what we've done, because the example I can use is when it comes to something like Board, I've had people comment that, I bet you if you got rid of the puppet, you get more views, or, you guys spend too much time like before the game. Like, I don't want to see all that crap. I just want to see the game. And I make this, we make the stuff we make because we enjoy it. Like, we do all the stuff we do with the puppet because Dave and I find it funny. Like the stuff,
I think it's hilarious.
It's not everyone's cup of tea. The way we do reviews, we did them for so long because it was just easier to get stuff out quicker to a degree. The reason Board is the way it is because that's the kind of show I would want to watch. Like, I make the stuff that I want to watch, and if other people watch it, great. It's not going to change because somebody tells me you get more views if you did it this way. I don't care. It's not about that to me.
Yeah, and if you don't love what you do, it's going to be harder to do. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And what I like about Board, it kind of started coming off like a little bit like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse a little bit to some
Yes.
extent.
It has become that crazy.
And so when you did the Christmas special and everything, I was like, this I suggested you guys should do a full-length
That
feature film.
2 of those things. Oh God, don't tempt me because it will.
Well,
happen.
we've already kicked around. It would basically be like a ripoff of Follow That Bird.
Yes,
Basically.
with the puppet leaving.
Well, going back to Branson to find his family.
Is he going to start his own evening show?
Well,
oh God, yes.
like we've already worked on lyrics that in no way resemble anything
Hamilton?
written by
No.
no,
Anything that resembles anything by Lin-Manuel Miranda?
No, it does not resemble that. It's completely unique.
For those of you who are wondering what Hamilton is, you should probably look up
come on
Lin-Manuel
now.
Miranda, and we'll look up Hamilton, and you'll
Yeah.
understand quickly. Which quickly became one of Dave and I's favorite Broadway soundtracks. Which, yes, we do listen to some Broadway stuff, but that soundtrack's amazing. Yeah, we've talked about, like, I think that's also one of the favorite things that we've done on the site is the Christmas stuff that we've done. Like, the Christmas episode we did. We did a Christmas special, remember?
No, we've done 2.
We've done 2. The first one is one of my favorite. The second one might be my favorite.
The first one frustrated me because, like, I honestly thought you and Danny could sing.
No,
So that went bad.
we can't. I don't know why you
Yeah,
thought
it's not
that.
supposed to be a joke. They were supposed to actually sing that. It was supposed to be a charming...
It was
It was
not.
actually supposed to be legitimately charming.
It was
it was
not.
terrible.
It was terrible.
And then the second one, don't even talk to me about the second one. Because the second one was written... Because the first one was so compromised because we had to rush it.
Yeah.
The second one was, like, written a week afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we
Yeah.
had a
A
year to film this thing. And somewhere along the way, Jason's like, can you do a couple of drawings and illustrations for this and this for part of the thing? I'm like, okay. And then he's like, hey, these are pretty good. So in December, I think, he's like, how about you just draw the whole thing? And it's like, oh, okay, Christmas is like 2 weeks away. So I spent like 2 weeks huddled over the board, drawing that whole thing. And then he's like, no, you're putting in dialogue and stuff. You're not supposed to do that because I'm going to do this, this, this. I'm like, you could have told me that before I illustrated 2/3.
Again, I'm a bad friend.
Yeah, because he has that illustration computer program that can animate 2D images, which he let me know he was going to use late.
Bad friend.
And then he gave Doss the old script, which of course I changed things when I was actually drawing. So if you notice a couple points, there's like some of the narration doesn't match
The dialogue.
what's on the screen because, But
But
anyway,
it's-
point being, yeah, I'm sure it was a fond memory for you.
But it's so warm and so fun to watch.
Dumping
though.
it on me at the last minute.
I think the worst part of for you that was the horrible part. The worst part for me was trying to get Danny to record the Bigfoot stuff
Yeah.
because he was so Danny's so busy all the time, and he finally sent me that like recording like a day before it was supposed to go up because he'd been sick and he was waiting for his voice to heal, and it was just like, oh, like I had already recorded it as me doing Bigfoot, thinking it's not gonna sound the same. Yeah, dude, the Christmas stuff. Kelly Christie Nickerson is to blame for the first Christmas special because she's like, you guys should do a Christmas special. And I was like, we should do a Christmas special. And that's when Dave and I wrote it.
I was like, yeah, I want to be like one of those really horrible, Star Wars holiday special
Yeah.
variety show things.
Having a
Sven was the best part of that.
didn't he have like a floating rooster in that or something? Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the parts I think people watch it and go, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
That was spectacular, though.
Oh my god,
That was a spectacular moment with the floating rooster. I missed that. So
God bless that. We've done some crazy stuff on this channel, like just ridiculous.
We're madmen. Madmen.
Yeah, we are. And sadly, with the puppet, now that Dash has passed, the puppet has nothing cuter than him to be angry at. So I don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back.
I don't know.
Because he's not...
Maybe he'll set fire to Gloomhaven.
Oh my god, that could happen.
Whatever
Yeah.
you love more than him, he'll lash out at.
We have some stuff we've never filmed that we've come up. There was a thing we were going to do with tacos with the puppet.
I don't remember the taco one.
The taco one was I came home with tacos and set them on the counter, then opened the fridge to get something out. And when I closed the fridge, it was just the tacos were gone. Like the wrappers were there, and he had eaten them. And I was like, "What the?" And I turn around, and he's like up against the wall, like full belly, like no taco cheese, something like that. It's been a while.
No me gusta.
No me gusta. Yeah, that's what it was. No me gusta.
oh, see now I'm doing the voice too.
It's easy to get addicted to that voice.
Yeah.
Oh, soothe.
I just want to throw that out every so often when I'm at work because I'm expected.
I always do it, woof, woof, and then everybody looks at me like, "The hell's that?" I'm like, "Just came out."
There's
Do that at your next doctor's appointment.
Woof. How are you feeling, Devall? Very good, thank you.
We're gonna get another professional in here.
I need you to cough. Woof, woof. Oh.
No, make that voice after you turn your head and cough.
Well, gang, I think it's going to wrap it up
On
for
that
episode 300. On that note,
We're gonna
Glad I
spin this
could
one
end it
out.
in style.
that's what we do. We spin our wheels at the end because why not? It's
Yeah.
more fun that way. Mostly because you can watch the level of frustration on Dave's eyes. Dave's just like, just end it already.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He put his computer away like 20 minutes ago.
Well, I just was out of questions, but I can hear both of your stomachs growling right now.
Yes, it is. It's dinner time.
Yeah.
But gang, thank you. Thank you to Josh. Thank you to all the fans for sticking with us for 300 episodes.
Yeah.
For enjoying our ridiculousness, even when we sucked. Because let's face it, there's a lot of episodes.
Especially when we suck.
There's a lot of episodes that are not good to listen to because they're just nothing there.
That seems to be the audience favorites.
Apparently.
Yeah.
We
should just give up on the whole idea of like toys and just be two old men yammering.
The darkness episodes are some people's favorite episodes too.
John Solo,
John Solo loves the dark.
He loves to
episodes.
hear about our tragedies.
John Solo's
Hey, the reason we're doing this on Sunday, John says Saturdays.
because Dave had to go to a funeral yesterday.
Yeah.
Dave's uncle died like a month
Okay, you don't have
ago.
to tell the whole life story.
Oh,
I'm just
sorry.
saying.
Let's say he's been passed on for a little while. He was on ice. It was his funeral. They buried him.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Was that dark enough for you,
That was a
John?
little too dark. And on that note,
Gang, thank you, Dave, and I'll be back. We'll be back next week with an all new show, and not this week, not this coming Thursday. We'll be back the following Thursday, since this is technically last weekend, this coming week's episode.
I think that's the 8th.
Yes, we'll be back on the 8th. So make sure you tune back in for that. Make sure you check us out. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you hit subscribe. Check out everything we have there. Mash the like button. Dave's mash it. Mash it. Check out everything we have there to offer and more. Check us out on iTunes and Stitcher under ToyWorldOrder. I'm hoping to add some more platforms here soon for people to listen to. I swear to God, I'm going to throw something at you. I swear to God. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be on live. I'm going to throw something at both of you. Yeah, you better take off. Pain in my butts. Gang, we'll be back. Thank you to Josh again for playing MC and hanging out with us. Thank you for watching. And hope you enjoyed. And gang, until next time.
keep playing with your toys.
Take care, guys. Until next time, the toy bar is closed.
Oh, wait. You have to go home.
You have to, yeah.
We're filming.
It's live.
We're filming. Well, no, because it's a video. So I was like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Damn it.
Whatever.
The toy bar peeps
Tomorrow
is
is
closed.
another day.
Peace out. I'm going to get real close to the camera to shut this off.
Yeah, I know. This is always, I've never part of any of these videos.